All right. Testing, testing. We are on. Welcome in to the Texas Sports Unfiltered Longhorn Football pregame show. We are broadcasting live from Victory Lap, the West Campus location, 504 West 24th Street. We will be here for the next 2 hours getting y'all set for kickoff between the Texas Longhorns and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. The final game of the month of October for Texas and the final game of this hellacious road trip that the Longhorns have been on. We've got so much to dive into. Of course, our keys to the game. Talk about what Texas needs to do to get a road victory in Stark Vegas. We will give our score predictions before we wrap up. We'll let you hear some sound from head coach Steve Sarkeesian. And we're going to talk about this game from every different angle. So much to dive into as the Longhorns look for a huge road victory and try to keep their college football playoff and SEC championship hopes alive. Alongside Bucky Godbolt, I am BK Brad Kellner. Thank y'all so much for joining us on a Saturday afternoon. A little cool, a little rainy Saturday afternoon here in Austin, Texas. Weather in Starkville shouldn't be much of a factor, though. And Buck, it's a great day for a Texas football game.
It most certainly is. And Buck is back on campus. Look out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I was going to ask, when's the last time you've been this close to the Texas campus?
Well, since the last time I was in handcuffs, probably.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So like 2 weeks ago?
No. It's been a while. It's nice to be on this side of town and on near this campus and in this area. I spent a lot of time down here, a lot of years in this area, but it's been a while now that I'm out there in the Tripping Springs area.
It's a bit of a trek for you.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. This is it's game day. We'll go anywhere.
We will.
And we're in a very nice spot right here, let me tell you.
Yeah, I love this place. It's only been around for a couple of years. This was not here when I was in school at Texas.
Thank goodness.
But I don't know if it would still exist if it was. But it's a great spot. Been here for a couple of years. They've got a giant turf patio, a massive screen outside. They've got a bunch of TVs inside where we're set up. Great drinks, great pizza here as well. There's good music playing outside. There's a lot going on. So if you're looking for a place to catch Texas, Mississippi State this afternoon, no better place than right here at Victory Lap.
And tons of parking around this joint, too. Boy, there is all kinds of spots.
They got the San Antonio garage right
there. You go. It's right there.
Some street parking here. A lot less traffic for a road game than a home Saturday.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
A lot easier to get around, a lot less traffic, easier to park. So, it's all good in the neighborhood. No complaints.
And a fantastic day for the Texas Longhorns to get themselves back right again. I mean, they're winning, but the way they're winning is very dangerous right now, BK. And it's as time goes on, it's going to get even more dangerous if they don't right the ship in some ways.
Yeah, so. It's pretty rare to call the game after a win a get-right game.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Texas was so bad offensively last week at Kentucky. Look, the defense and the special teams showed up. It ain't a get-right game for them. It's more of the same from those two units, but the offense coming off the worst performance in the Steve Sarkeesian era. Buck, you got to go back to the Charlie Strong era of Texas football. The last time Texas only had 179 yards of total offense, only 8 first downs in that overtime victory at Kentucky. Obviously, a lot for that side of the football to clean up.
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion on this offensive side of the football, whether it's from the quarterback, the wide receivers. Obviously, the offensive line is struggling right now, and the run game is very inconsistent. 2 weeks ago against Oklahoma, 3 weeks ago against Oklahoma, it was fantastic. It was a fantastic running game. Sark seems to have figured it out with his lineup when it comes to offensive line, and then they get a week. They get a week where then they go to play at Kentucky, and it's right back to the same thing. It looks confused. It looks like a lot of guys don't quite know what they're doing. And I know that some position changes, some substitutions, but man, oh man, just the physicality of it just didn't look right against Kentucky last week.
No, not at all. The offensive line struggled. I mean, every aspect of the Texas offense really struggled in Lexington, and it's still 7 days later a stunner to me that Texas won that football game. Right? I mean, Texas got outgained in every way, shape, and form. If you just look at the box score, it should have been a Kentucky blowout.
No doubt.
But the Texas defense stepped up. Obviously, Ryan Niblett and Mason Shipley on special teams stepped up. And Texas somehow, some way was able to make enough plays down the stretch to get a road victory. But like you said, I mean, you can't score 13 points in regulation on the road in the SEC and expect to win.
No. We had talked about this special teams, and we were wondering when it was going to start to be special. Well, it's holding up its end of the bargain now for the offense. Really, it is their offense.
Yeah, it was last week.
Well, and it looks better, and you're starting to get a little bit more confident in Ryan Niblett taking balls, not letting them bounce, catching balls on the fly, and guys blocking for the punt return. He looks fantastic on punt returns. He is a spark, and he doesn't hesitate. Once he catches the ball, I mean, he's full go. He doesn't dance around an awful lot. He finds a crease and he goes. And I think that's been part of his success is not dancing around, not grabbing the ball and trying to reverse field, doing some other things like that, but finding a crease and making it happen for this. I'm saying making it happen not for the special teams, but for this team.
Absolutely.
You know, for this offense, really.
Well, Texas's only offensive touchdown last week was on a 5-yard drive that was set by a 45-yard Ryan Niblett punt return. So that was the best thing they did offensively, and it only happened because, Niblett made a huge play in that third phase of the game. Obviously, he had the biggest play of the game against Oklahoma, that 75-yard punt return touchdown early in the fourth quarter that kind of felt like a dagger against the Sooners. So hopefully more of the same. Now, Mississippi State's got a great punter. They're pretty good on special teams. Maybe Jeff Levy is like, don't kick to that guy.
Yeah, how about that?
Punt it out of bounds.
Absolutely.
Or we don't care if it's like 5 or 10 yards shorter, just punt it out of bounds so their offense has to drive the length of the field against our defense. And that's obviously the biggest key for Texas. Can this offense led by Arch Manning, but it's obviously more than Arch Manning. It's the run game, it's the offensive line, it's the receivers, it's the play caller, it's everybody that has to do a lot differently than what they did 7 days ago.
Well, you're running out of weeks on when you're going to try to straighten this out.
Sure.
It should be by the day. Things should get a little bit better by the day, but you and I and the fans, we can't, we only get to see what we see on game day. So over the last couple of weeks, it wasn't definitely not pleasant last week. That was pretty sad offensive display of football last week.
Yeah.
Now they did some things right. I mean, they didn't have a bunch of penalties last week, thank goodness, because you're talking about putting you in a bind. And today it's going to be a different type of atmosphere. Of course, in Sarkville, that's going to be a little bit different.
Did you say Sarkville or Starkville?
Should be Sarkville.
We hope it is.
We're hoping it's Sarkville tonight, but let me just say this: in Starkville, the atmosphere is going to be a little bit different, especially when you have an offensive line that's a little jittery when it comes to illegal procedures.
Yeah.
Well, hell, I should say that about the punt return team actually, but this offensive line they need to have everything together. This can't be one of those. I'm just a little bit nervous. It's going to happen naturally anyway. I'm predicting there'll be at least 2 illegal procedures. Period. I'd like to have it just that.
Yeah.
But all in all, I mean, in any given team that goes to that place to play, they have that happen to them. It's not just Texas. It won't be just because you got a bunch of different guys maybe playing on the offensive line, but a lot of groups that go in there. Georgia goes in there. Other teams like that go in there, and they struggle, of course, with snap counts and things like that because of the noise.
I'll just find a way to win. That's all that matters.
They're just better. If you're just better, it shouldn't really matter.
Right. Mississippi State's lost 15 straight SEC games. It's been more than 2 years since they've won their last conference game. I know that's a stat that I've mentioned a number of times during our show this week, but most teams find a way to beat Mississippi State.
Yes, they do.
And they played a couple of teams close this year. They took Tennessee to overtime in their SEC opener. They should have had Florida last week in the Swamp, a horrible interception from Blake Shapen in the final minute of that game when Mississippi State was driving with a chance to kick a field goal for the win. Like somehow, some way, Mississippi State keeps losing these football games. You hope you keep that trend going.
Yeah, you don't want to be the one.
Don't be their slump buster.
No.
Don't be their fat chick.
Not the one under their belt. You don't want to be that one.
No, you don't want that at all. So I think we're kind of bearing the lead here, Buck. By the way, our pregame show brought to you by Audiovisual Consultations and Covert Bee Cave. Want to make sure we give them a shout out here at the beginning of our show. Number of different segments, number of different sponsors that we will get to over the next couple of hours. Obviously, a lot to get into with what's going to happen on the field starting at 3:15 in Starkville. But I think we kind of need to dive into the eye-popping reports from ESPN's Diana Rossini this morning. She tweeted at 9:05 a.m., quote, "I'm told that representatives for Texas coach Steve Sarkeesian have let NFL decision makers know that he would be interested in potential head coaching openings, including the Titans," end quote. And perhaps the reason the Titans got that special shout out, as of now, they're the only team that's fired their coach.
That's right.
In the NFL. We think a few more are coming.
Yeah, the Dolphins won't be far behind.
No, the Dolphins, the Jets, there's a number of other teams that may be looking for a new coach quicker rather than later. But very interesting timing. The day of a game. I mean, Texas probably eating breakfast at the team hotel in Starkville, and all of a sudden this report comes out. Initial reactions to Diana Rossini's tweet.
Well, I got to believe that Sark's representatives will start making those calls. No, coach is not interested in that. Right? I mean, it's right in the middle of the season. That would surprise me if he had any of his representatives out there doing that. And if he did, he doesn't want that to get public for sure. That it is what it is. I mean, if there's opportunities for an NFL job, you're at Texas. Timing is bad. I'll just say this. This is kind of weird timing right here.
Timing is weird.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Not only is it game day of a must-win game for Texas, but again, last week was Steve Sarkeesian's worst offensive performance as the head coach of the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, why are you looking at that dude right now?
Right. You think NFL teams are like, oh, I loved what he did in Lexington. We have to hire that guy.
No.
Oh, we love what he's doing with Arch Manning this year. We have to hire that guy. I don't know. The timing is very interesting. Buck, it's the MSM, not the mainstream media, the Mississippi State media.
Trying to get that out there.
Trying to get that out there, getting Texas's heads a little bit so they can.
They want that win bad. They need that win bad.
So they're calling up Diana Rossini. I had to look and make sure Rossini didn't attend Mississippi State University. She did not. But I wonder if they're trying to get in Texas's head a little bit today with this report.
Yeah, I can't imagine Steve Sarkeesian feeling the pressure from the University of Texas coming off of two semifinal. Being involved in two semifinals over the last 2 years. It doesn't seem to make sense. And of course, like, as you said, the timing after coming off a game like that, why would anybody be interested in you right now?
Well, he's done a really good job. I think you talked about the reason why. I think you answered your own question. The fact that he woke Texas football up from a decade-long slumber that they were in, and he's helped turn Texas into, a contender in college football again. Like you said, a team that was in the college football playoff semifinal in the last couple of seasons, a team that started the year number 1 in the country, a team that's recruited at a high level. Like, he's done a really, really good job at Texas, and he's a great offensive mind. Like, we know the NFL loves offense.
For sure.
Now, the offense hasn't been great this year. It's been the worst Steve Sarkeesian has had at Texas, but he's still regarded as one of the best offensive minds in the sport. He's been an offensive coordinator in the NFL before, so we know he has some connections in league circles. Like, I see why there would be some interest from the NFL in Steve Sarkeesian.
But on this particular week.
But again, the timing of this is very interesting, and the fact that it's happening Saturday morning of a huge game for Texas, it's not a great look for him. And within the last 10 minutes, CAA, which is an agency where Jimmy Sexton works. Jimmy Sexton is Steve Sarkeesian's agent.
And many others.
Right? He's like Nick Saban. I mean, pretty much any prominent college football coach is represented by Jimmy Sexton. A report that was tweeted out 11 minutes ago now. Any reports regarding communications on coaching opportunities with NFL teams are patently false and wildly inaccurate. Sark is solely focused on coaching the University of Texas football team.
Yeah, I'm sure in the future he may think that way, but that would be after getting to a national championship game, winning a national championship, maybe down the line somewhere. But it's just real odd, after coming up the success that he's had over the last 2 years, and then the non-success right now with what's going on with his young quarterback right now. I would think the NFL would be going, really?
I'm trying to figure out who leaked this, because Diana Rossini is not just making this up.
Sure, she wouldn't do that.
She's a very reputable reporter. She's been covering the sport for a long time. Like, she's not going to make something up. So who leaked this to her? Was it Jimmy Sexton? Like,
well, that guy's always working. He has to always be at work.
Steve Sarkeesian just got an extension this past offseason and a raise. Like, he hasn't done anything this year to warrant another extension and another raise. So is this, like, what's the point of this? What are they looking for? This is like, oh, you guys are mean to me. You guys are mean to my client after last week. So now I'm going to take my ball home and leave. Is that what this is?
I don't think that. That seems more than petty, doesn't it?
It seems very petty.
Yeah, I just don't see that being that's leaked from somewhere else. That's one of those sources. I don't think that comes from Jimmy Sexton. I don't think he would go out and do that. He's as much as he is one of the best in the business. He's not going to do something stupid.
I don't know.
Stupid with his client.
I mean, you see all of these jobs opening up, and Jimmy Sexton also represents Lane Kiffin, who, of course, is being linked to the Florida job and pretty much every vacancy in college football right now. I don't know if it's like, well, I'm about to get Lane Kiffin a raise, whether it's at Ole Miss or at a new place somewhere else.
Florida.
Maybe I could do the same for Steve Sarkeesian here. Start floating Sark's name around with NFL teams, maybe some college jobs, and see what Texas does here. I don't know.
I mean, do you think the head coach feels like he's underpaid?
I hope not.
That's what I'm seriously. Does he think he's underpaid?
Well, he's gotten raises in the last two off seasons,
he has.
And he's a top 5 highest paid coach in college football. And I think right now, I should say before the Bert Signetti extension at Indiana, Steve Sarkeesian was the third highest paid coach in the country.
Right.
The two guys ahead of him, Kirby Smart, 2 national championships. Ryan Day just won a national championship. Sark has no case to be making more money than those guys right
Absolutely.
now. So I don't know, again, if this is some sort of negotiation tactic from Steve Sarkeesian's representation to where they're trying to get him a little something. I have no idea, but I don't think he has done anything this season to warrant a new contract or more money.
I just don't see that coming from. I don't see that coming from coach. I mean, it doesn't seem like his personality right now. I think he would rather go ahead and focus on getting this game and winning this football game, and not having something like that leak out through even any of his representatives,
Right, guys,
friends or whatever.
We are giving away a pair of Ariat Cowboy boots. Just sign your name and drop the raffle ticket in the bucket, and you were good to go. Grab a koozie as well. It's fascinating. I mean, remember, Steve Sarkeesian this past week was asked about giving up play calling, right? And there's a lot of Texas fans out there.
Could be the blowback on all that.
Yeah, who are like, hey, Sark needs to hire an offensive coordinator, right? Like, take a step back, do what Ryan Day did,
Sure.
Just be the CEO and bring in somebody else to call the plays on offense. And I wonder if Sark's like, you know what, I'd rather leave than give up play calling. Here's what I'm going to do to you instead. Here's my threat to y'all.
Well, there's no doubt about him not appreciating the fact that people are asking him about, getting somebody else to call the plays. You just be the CEO and run the football team. That's not, especially coming from a play caller himself. He's not good. I don't see him giving that up until the bitter end.
Yeah. Well, the only way he gives that up is if he's forced to give that up.
Right.
Like, I don't think Ryan Day gave up offensive play calling at Ohio State under his own power.
No. He had to be told.
I think he was told. Now he handled it professionally, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to go hire Chip Kelly. He's a great offensive mind. Let's bring this guy in. He's going to help our football team. But I think it was more of you keep losing to Michigan. You keep coming up short in the playoff.
Absolutely.
Here's what you have to do if you want to keep your job, kind of thing. And maybe it gets to the point, I don't know if it's after this year. Look, there's still 5 games left in the regular season. Texas could go 5-0. The offense could turn a corner. Arch Manning could look great. And then all of a sudden, all these conversations are for naught. But if Texas does slip up a couple more times down the stretch and this team doesn't get to the college football playoff after starting the year number 1, then Chris Del Conte's phone's going to be ringing a little bit with people asking some questions.
Well, I know the aggressive nature of Texas fans when it comes to their coach. They're going to be outspoken. They're going to say what they want to say.
Oh, for sure.
And that's a part of what's going right now. But for Sark himself, this is a great gig. I mean, this is a gig that this guy has wanted for a long, long time and has done a fantastic job at. And I just don't see him wanting to float the idea, no matter what the fans say. I would think he'd have enough control of himself not to float that out there so that it gets now you're not only getting the fans and the alums all riled up, because one thing we do know about Texas, if you want to get going, they will get you going.
Oh,
now.
For sure.
They'll move on to somebody else. That's not a problem to them. They want to have a good coach, but you don't put that baby in the corner.
Well, it's funny how fickle, and this isn't just a Texas fan base thing. This is a sports fan base thing. We are very, what have you done for me lately?
Sure.
So when these reports started popping up in a few different group texts involving a bunch of Texas football fans, and there were some folks who were like, good riddance.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, that's the Texas fan. They can be like that.
We don't need you. We don't need you anymore. And it's like, did you guys forget where we were for the
That's what I was just thinking about.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that part of it too.
Get it. This year has not gone well. It's not gone the way we wanted it to. Number one, it's not over. But all right, like, I think he has earned the opportunity to turn things around after this year. But in the eyes of some Longhorn fans, it's, oh my God, we got a chance to get away from this guy. This dude's a bum. Let's go hire Lane Kiffin. Let's us hire Lane Kiffin. Forget Florida. Let's go bring him in. I'm like, what has Lane Kiffin done? He's won less than Sark.
Yeah, I mean, and what I see is when people say things, let's, turn it around. It's already turned around. He's turning it around.
Right.
I mean, he's done that. As you said, do they remember 10 years ago? I mean, do you remember back to those days?
4 years ago, 5 years ago. I mean,
he's already turned it around. I mean, he's just building on the success that he's had. He's not having right now. He's not having a great year. He's okay. I mean, they're winning. They win the games. They've been winning the games, by the way. It may not look pretty, but the games have been won.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a losing record, and there's still plenty of season left to go. So it's not like he's got to turn this around. They may have to turn this season around with his offense for sure.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to turn this. I mean, the games are still here to be played. His defense is playing pretty good.
Right. This team's 5-2 on the year. They're 2-1 in the SEC. They've got a lot to play for now. We'll see what happens today. Obviously, we'll see what happens in these final 5 games of the regular season. But yeah, I think the fans who are like, oh, what do we have to do to get Sark to leave right now is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane to me.
Yeah. Who are you going to replace him
Right.
with? When you start talking, it's always want to get rid of this person, get rid of that person, but who's coming to take their place if that were to happen?
It's one thing to talk about getting rid of an assistant coach, making some changes to the staff. It's another thing to talk about Sark hiring an offensive coordinator. Like those are things that are worth listening to, but just like hoping Steve Sarkeesian leaves,
No.
I think that's a wild take right now.
And what will happen is the way the season goes, people will fall back on that. Well, he wanted to leave. He really is not paying attention to what's going on, what's happening right now.
Right.
His thoughts are, let me get out of here.
Sure. People are commenting, like we've got a couple of these comments in text so far, like Sark's feeling the heat and he wants to jump ship. Sark, there's no heat in terms of Sark losing his job. That heat is not there. You might think it's there because you spend too much time on Twitter or talking to your friends who are freaking out. There's no heat for Steve Sarkeesian's job.
No, there wasn't, and there was not going to be.
It's not a James Franklin situation here. Like he is going, if he chooses to stay here, he is going to be the head coach at the University.
There's no doubt about that.
So this is not him looking for a soft landing or anything.
Yeah, because there's pressure on him to get it done now.
Right. I think so. So we'll take your thoughts. Go to text line 512-222-9328. Obviously a massive development that impacts way more than just today's game. But now you got to wonder, Buck, how does this impact today's game? We're talking about this game that kicks off just over 2 hours from now, a must-win game for Texas to keep the SEC title and college football playoff hopes alive. There's enough already going on with this team where it was going to be tough to get a victory. Now you got to put all this stuff to the side and get the job done.
All we need to know is what have you done at practice to get better in the run game this week? That's for me. And get your quarterback to be a little bit more accurate when they're the throws that are there. Are you going to be able to do that tonight? That's what's important for me, BK, more than anything. How does this team regroup from a bad offensive display last week and get back to the way they looked against Oklahoma? That to me will be enough to win a football game right there.
Yeah.
Can you get back there? Can you get your players back to where they're good players? Get them back right on track where they should be.
Yeah, I think that's what we're all looking for today, right? Like that second half against Oklahoma was the best half of football against a power team that Texas has played this year. Defense pitched the shutout. Special teams showed up. You had that Niblett punt return touchdown. But obviously the offense, that third quarter, you had a 14-play touchdown drive. You had a 13-play field goal drive that started inside your own 10-yard line. Maybe the 2 best drives of the year for Texas against quality competition came in the second half against OU. And you're thinking like, we've turned a corner. We've got an identity. We found something on this offense. It took a little longer than we wanted, but okay, we've got something and we can use this in the second half of the season. And then they go right back to that last week.
Yeah, because what we want is consistency, or is it sustainable? And, with the things that are happening with the offensive line, consistency and sustainability is kind of tough in both ways for this offensive line right now. But one thing you can be is you can be aggressive and you can be physical. And what we didn't see last week was a physical offensive line at all last week. That was just kind of, it's horrible. It was mushy. It was not good. It wasn't guys moving other guys. It was guys that were leaning on guys. And you could see that in the run game, and you could see it on the faces of the players. It just, the confidence level was not there. Not like it was against Oklahoma. That was a different world. It looked like a different attitude by the players themselves. They looked like, not only did they want to be physical, they were physical at the point of attack. Last week was not. And you can't, in this league, from week to week, it seems like it starts to get tougher as the season goes on. And it does. You start to get worn down, and you can't all of a sudden not be physical. You cannot be physical against Kentucky. You can't do the same thing against Mississippi State. And from that point on, what it's going to be like from the gauntlet that they're about to go through after this.
Yeah.
So you need to have a game right now where you get back to the physicality. Because even if you want to be physical and you play physical, that doesn't guarantee you wins down the road here against the kind of competition that you're going to play against.
It gives you a much better chance.
It does give you a better chance, yeah.
And it's
always, you're not getting pushed around. That'll help you.
Right. It's always talked about so much during Red River Week. Oh, the more physical team wins.
Yeah.
Oh, whoever wins the line of scrimmage wins. Oh, whoever runs the ball better is going to win. That's the case in most football games.
Every week.
It's not just the case for that game in Dallas. It's like, you look at the Florida game, Texas ran it for 50 yards. They lost. You look at the Kentucky game, Texas ran it for 47 yards. They had their worst offensive performance in more than a decade, and they needed overtime to somehow win. Like, the line of scrimmage, the offensive line has to do better. They have to do better because Arch Manning is getting pressured more than any other Power 4 quarterbacks on his dropbacks this year. That's a problem. And this Texas team in their 3 SEC games, and 2 of them, they just have not been able to run the ball a lick. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, and I just think you could solve that. That's one problem with the drop back passing. We saw what they did against Oklahoma. I mean, you go back to that game plan. I don't know why you get away from that game plan if it's working. I know the players on the other side, the coaches on the other side of defense are not going to let you just do those things that you want to do. But there are ways that you don't have to drop back. The drop back game right now with this offensive line, you can't do it. I mean, why do something that you can't do?
It's got to be quick.
Yeah,
right?
It's a waste of time doing that.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we end up talking about the quarterback, how terrible the quarterback is. He's not accurate enough. Well, if you keep putting him in the same position where he doesn't have time to throw the football, then that's what you're going to get.
Let's try to play some sound. We tested this before the show, and it was a little dicey, but this has to do with what we're talking about. Steve Sarkeesian was asked on Monday, how much of Arch's struggles are on the offensive line, right? It almost feels like, nationally people are going to focus on Arch.
Absolutely.
They're always going to focus on the quarterback. When your last name is Manning, you multiply that by 100. But even within the Texas fan base, it feels like it's divided, or it's like a percentage of the fan base is blaming it all on Arch, and they're saying, "What? Put Matthew Caldwell in, maybe he'll do better." And then the other part is like, "Well, Arch has no time; he can't go anywhere because the offensive line sucks so bad. It's not his fault." Steve Sarkeesian was asked how much of Arch Manning's struggles this season have been on the offensive line.
I think it's all a combination, right? I mean, it's easy to point to the offensive line. Sometimes we don't notice. It might not be the offensive line. It might be the running back who's not picking something up. It might be receivers not being at the right depth or drifting on a route. It might be his own, just error, whether it's mechanically or missing a read. And so it's all those things. And so for a quarterback, when you get those opportunities, when you have, like, as I refer to them as layups, I don't think you need to overthink it. You just need to take the layup, and that's challenging when you feel like you're working in a game, and he had to work Saturday night. And when you get those, now that's not the time for the sigh of relief. That's the time to make sure I drill this throw in here and let's get this first down. Let's keep it moving, or let's create this explosive play. But to your point, I do think things can add up on you to where you're like, oh my gosh, I got this guy open. I got to hit this. No, you just need to do what you do, and that's throw the ball and play catch.
Yeah, and I think Sark is right about that. Just the fundamentals of the quarterback position.
Yeah.
When it's there, big 6'4", 6'5" guy, and it's right in your face, you have to make the plays. You can't say it's the offensive line or the wide receivers. When a receiver's crossing and he's crossing in your face, and if you're not leading him or you're throwing high or throwing it behind him, that's not on anybody. That's on you.
Yep.
You have to make those throws. You have to, as we say, you got to play catchy catch, and those are catchy catch throws that you do hundreds of times throughout the at practice. Just practice alone, forget the games, but you have to make those throws. So, I mean, I look at the offensive line, and by now he knows he's going to be pressured. He's been around these guys right now. He knows the guy who can block right here at guard. He knows the guy what's going to happen at center. He knows that his left tackle is going to be okay. He's the best that they have right now, so he feels a little bit more comfortable. But he should know the other guys in front of him, when I have to get rid of the ball, how I have to get rid of the ball, and when I do not throw the ball at all. I'll go ahead and take a sack and live for another down. He needs to know those players. By the way, the head coach needs to know those players too.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think Sark is having problems with this year, is actually knowing the players. I mean, he may know what time they get to class, or, what time they're going to call their girlfriends, or who's having problems with their girlfriends or whatever. But I don't think he knows them from a football standpoint right now. And he should. We're way too far in the season for him not to know what he has at, the backup to the backup to the back. I mean, he should know those people by now.
I'm going to reference Tom Herman here. Is that okay?
Well, we always do. He's always fun to reference.
I'm sorry to do this.
Most of the time in a bad way.
Playing quarterback is hard.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's the hardest position to play.
Sure it is.
Arch Manning has to make the easy.
Yeah, that's exactly what one of the keys that I had down. Make the easy throws easy, please.
I mean, there's not a lot of them.
No.
With the guys around him, with
No,
the
there's not a
offensive
lot.
line, with the lack of running game, with the non-explosive playmakers on the
But
outside.
you can't keep blaming it on them when it's an easy throw for you.
But there are some easy.
Sure.
There's been some easy in every game that Texas has played this year. And you look at the 2 losses and you look at the Kentucky game. There were some easy throws for Arch Manning to make when he did get a clean pocket, when his head coach was able to scheme somebody open down the field and Arch just flat out missed him. So when those opportunities come, they're fewer and further between than we would like, but you have to take advantage of those. And I get it. Like, I'm sure it is difficult when Arch Manning drops back. His internal clock is probably so fast right now because he's so used to getting pressured. He's taken so many hits this year. It's got to be incredibly impossible for him to like, oh shit, I have a clean pocket. Let me actually take a second here, go through my reads and set my feet perfectly and make a great throw. Like, he's got to be so rattled when early on in every game he's getting hit as much as he is. But when those opportunities do come up, you have to take advantage of them.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, then as the guy who leads the team, as the guy, you can't then look to the offensive line and say, you know what, I had a little pressure that time. No, you had an easy throw that time, and you need to make that an accurate throw.
Because the offensive line's looking at you like, hey, we actually held up today.
Yeah, or we held up as long as we generally held up, so get it done for us.
We gave you enough time to make a throw. There's a guy open. We see that. Why are you not hitting him?
I mean, last week in the Kentucky game, guys, there were enough of those throws that game shouldn't have been as close as it was.
No.
There were enough of those easy throws that, you score at least 2 more touchdowns, or your time of possession is in your favor. You help out the run game. When you don't continue to move the chains and help out your run game that's struggling with the offensive line, we know what's going on with the run game and the offensive line.
Yeah.
That's already determined on how they're struggling in that part of it. But when you have the easy throws that you need to make to keep things going, you have to get those done. And those are the ones that are kind of disappointing for a kid who's been in the program for 3 years now. He didn't just, as I've said, he didn't just show up on this campus now. This guy he's been around for a while now.
Well, here's the thing. Arch Manning did play against Mississippi State last year. I get it. Mississippi State's a better football team. Texas, a worse football team.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the game where Arch Manning showed the SEC that he's got a little something to him. And this is the game that I think gave a lot of Longhorn fans confidence that there weren't going to be as many growing pains as there have been for Arch Manning. But against Mississippi State last year here in Austin, a game that Texas won 35-13, Arch Manning was 26 of 31 throwing the football, 325 passing yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. Also had a rushing touchdown as well, 0 turnovers. He was the best player on the football field.
Yeah, he has to step up. His game needs to step up today. He has to be the guy that really steps up his game, because that's going to help the run game, because the things he can do with his feet. Still no turnovers. Can't give the ball to the other guy. And now you're playing against one of the better secondaries right now in the SEC.
They do lead the SEC in interceptions this year with 10. So it's been a very opportunistic secondary for Mississippi State. And that defense has gotten night and day better. They were giving up 36 points per game in 2024. So far in 2025, 20 points per game. So they've gotten a lot better everywhere. Their secondary is solid, but it's still Mississippi State we're talking about.
With a young, inexperienced quarterback like Arch Manning, and eventually I'm going to quit saying inexperienced. I mean, he's just going to be a young quarterback. But he's got to understand the entire plan. He has a really, really good defense. He has to go play as if he has a really, really good defense. I think he feels like all these pressures about the offense and the team is about him.
Yeah.
It's not, dude, you got a good defense. Go play football. You're going to make the mistakes, but make it in full speed. Make these easy throws look easy. There's enough hard throws during the course of a football game that you're going to have to make. And you'll eventually, as you get more experience with that, BK, he'll get that done.
Yeah.
But I think he has in his own mind, that's why I say I don't think the coach knows the kid. I think in his own mind, he has to understand he's got a really good defense, and your defense is going to come to your rescue a lot. I mean, they're just good. This defense is good. So go play football. When Sark talks about just let it go, I just don't think he understands that part of what I'm doing is the defense too.
Yeah.
So I got to trust myself and to make those throws. And if I don't get it, guess what those guys on the other side of the ball are going to do? They're going to get the ball back to me.
Sure.
It doesn't look like he's hungry enough that, you know what, if I make a mistake, those dudes over there will give me the damn ball back and I won't make that mistake again. I'll go down the field. It's almost about everything that surrounds this whole football team is about him. And I think everybody's put that kind of pressure on him, but it's time for him to take that goofy pressure off of himself. Let the rest of his team play with him. He doesn't have to, he can do the things that he needs to do. He's going to make mistakes. He's a young quarterback. He's got to figure that part out. But I have a good enough defense. And by the way, my special teams is doing some nice things for me now too and helping out the offense. So let that go. Let some of the madness let some of the madness go and play your game. Yeah, you're going to miss some of those easy throws here or there, but damn, you can't miss like every other one the way we're seeing it now every weekend.
Right. Steve Sarkeesian did talk about that earlier this week, how his team made a conscious effort to try to play more complementary football
Right.
3 weeks ago. And I'm like, 3 weeks ago, that was the week of the Florida game. That was when you started making that effort. We didn't really see that in Gainesville. We don't really see that in Lexington either. Well, what's your confidence level in what you're talking about? That Arch Manning can do that today and have a good game.
I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about it.
There's a long pause there. You sure you do?
Yeah, I really do. I just think that there's nothing about this Mississippi State offense that's going to tell me they're going to control the ball. They're going to have the ball for they're going to possess the ball, twice as much as the Longhorns are going to do it. And I've got a feeling that the Arch will let this thing kind of just develop, today. I think the run game will be back as good as Mississippi State has been. Especially on the defensive front, they've gotten a little bit better on defense. And as you said, they're one of the top secondaries in the SEC. But I think maybe this team will understand that we really do have good defense. Our special teams is starting to come around now. So as much as the offense is suffering, just go play ball.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, we'll make up for it. We'll get you the ball back in good field position. But now you can't compound the mistakes by having 10 illegal procedure penalties because of cowbells and all that kind of craziness today. So just go play the game and let your defense do what they do best.
Well, let's hear another one from Steve Sarkeesian here. Again, I think every Texas fan has talked about wanting to see more of what we saw against Oklahoma with this offense, right? Inside zone, outside zone, running the football, short, quick passes. Arch Manning was 15 for 15 on throws within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage in that big victory in Dallas. Here was Sark earlier this week when he was asked about changing his offensive philosophy for this game against Mississippi State.
I think that's a fair question because, as a staff, you have to have the real conversation of, okay, what do we do to help our players be successful? And it's not about what I know. It's not about what looks good on the whiteboard when you draw it up in there. It's about what are our guys going to execute really well, predicated on the defense that we're playing, and where are our strengths. And so, without divulging what we're going to do game plan wise, I do think you'll see some adjustments this week to what we do. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure we're playing complementary football with our defense. I think we made that shift and that adjustment about 3 weeks ago to say, okay, we're playing really good defense. We're playing really good on special teams. Let's make sure we're playing a complementary brand of football to continue to enhance the way we're playing in those two phases and play in a style where, hey, we're protecting the ball. All right, we're going to play a field position game. But to do that, you have to execute 3rd and 1 to 6, right? You got to extend those drives. And so that's got to become a big point of emphasis of ours there, because if you play that way and you're not taking as many risks, you're not taking as many chances down the field, man, you got to be really efficient in those 3rd down distances. And then you got to be really efficient in the red zone because, the game can shrink. And so there's not quite as many opportunities. You got to be really efficient. So we got to have a great plan in the 3rd and medium to short range. We got to have a great plan in the red area to make sure we're putting our guys in position to be successful.
And you can't play scared, but you can't play scared.
Right.
You can't be so in tune to not doing this and not doing that that you don't score any points. You've got a defense right now. If you can put 21 to 24 points on the board, you're going to be in the game, and you're going to be really in the game. You're not going to have to worry about, oh no, we need another field goal in order to secure this. No, your defense is going to play. So I think in your mindset's got to be more, what is it that our offense can do? How many points can we put on the board? Is this offense good enough to score 24 points? Because if they can score 24 points, again, I'm looking throughout the rest of the SEC. You do that with this defense, you're going to be okay.
Well, Texas is 3rd in the country in points per game allowed this year, giving up just over 11 a game on the season.
Okay.
So if you're getting to 24 with the way this defense is played, you got a really good shot to win.
Yeah, but you can't play scared. You can't take away what you do, because I know it's got to be hard on Sark, because he's a play caller and he wants to call exotics and he wants to do some things that he knows that he can't do with this team. So I think they got to set a plan of, this is how many points we need. I don't give a shit when we get those points. I don't care if we get them all in the first quarter, and we got to hold on for dear life, offensively for the other 3. But we need to get to 24 points. If we can get to 24 points, our defense will be just fine.
Well, that would be a Power 4 high for Texas this year. Most they've scored in a Power 4 game was the 23 that they got against Oklahoma. Of course, remember the offense only scored 16 points in that game because you had the punt return touchdown. But 24 would be not a season high because you had some non-conference games. I mean, you put up 55 against Sam Houston, but in terms of the 4 Power 4 teams that you've played, the most points that you've scored as a team is 23.
Well, maybe I should say you need 24 points for everybody except for Georgia. You're going to need more than 24 points against Georgia. I know how good our defense is.
Yeah.
But Georgia, by that time that Texas gets to play behind the hedge, it's going to be, you're going to need more than 24 because they're starting to roll offensively themselves.
You may need more than that today. Who knows? I mean, Mississippi State in their home games this year, there's a couple of cupcakes in there, but you also have Tennessee in there too. Mississippi State's averaging close to 40 points per game at home this year. That offense has a little something to them. I still think the Texas defense is much better than the Mississippi State offense.
Sure.
But I don't know. There's a chance that they put up some points today to where your offense has to give you something. And right now, Buck, you're talking about 24. Texas is averaging just over 17 a game against Power 4 teams this year. I gave you the season.
So this is a leap. This is a bit of a leap.
Right. For them to get in the 20s like that hasn't been easy for Texas to do, unfortunately.
Well, one thing, as I said, that has gotten better that we talked about and asked about early in the season is the special teams starting to be special, where the last couple of weeks, pretty special having the kind of punt returner.
Sure.
I mean, that guy is now become a weapon. So that's part of, to me, that's now part of your offense. I know a lot of people talk about punt teams and kickoff teams of being your defense. No, for this Texas team, for this football team, that's a part of their offense.
Well, you can't rely on that, though.
No, I mean, but
again, if Mississippi State's like, we're going to kick the ball out of bounds on every punt today, then
it's Jeff Levy. He's not that smart.
Right.
I mean, that dude isn't that smart. He's not smart enough to do that.
I don't know.
The coaching staff is not smart enough to start kicking balls out of bounds.
They are trying to get him fired out there.
Yeah, come on,
a little bit.
I don't want to give that dude that much credit. He's not that smart.
Right.
He's going to punt it right to him.
That'd be nice.
Saying, hey, you know what? We got the balls. We're going to cover them.
Yeah.
We're going to go down there and show you how to cover punts.
Well, what do you think about Ryan Niblett having a bigger role in the Texas offense? I mean, obviously he's the punt returner. He's earned that. He's doing a tremendous job at that. But it feels like Sark and company are trying to incorporate him into the offense a little bit more. Are you okay with seeing number 21 out there for a few more snaps?
No, CJ Baxter's ready to go.
Yeah.
And ready to play today. And you've got Trey Wisener and CJ Baxter. That's plenty. That should be plenty. You don't even need another running back. You don't need 21 to come in there. So as soon as he comes in, everybody goes, that ball's going to that guy. Wherever he goes, run at him.
Right.
Because every time he comes in, the ball ends up coming to him. So no, I don't think I don't need him to be a part of that. I just need CJ Baxter to be healthy and ready to play and help out. I mean, we'll see how healthy he is today.
Well, Baxter is back. On last night's injury report, he wasn't there. So he was listed as probable on Wednesday night, probable again on Thursday. They removed his name completely from last night's report, which means he is good to go. He'll be out there today. Here is Steve Sarkeesian from Thursday talking about CJ Baxter's likely return and what he can bring this struggling Texas offense.
Yeah, I thought he's looked good in practice, and I thought he's gotten better and stronger as the week's gone on. The soft tissue injuries, to your point, are tricky because the player coming off of them, they're trying to figure out, can they really push it, right? And so, and I credit our medical staff and the rehab process because we pushed him really good over the last week and a half before this week. And to get him his confidence right to where he felt like he could go. And I felt like from Monday, Tuesday to Wednesday to today, his comfort level of pushing that to a degree to where he felt comfortable that he could really play at a high level, which was important. We're obviously fortunate to have Trey to combo with Cedric. And then, like I said, Christian Clark's really been coming on. And so, again, I don't envision C4 walking out of there with 20-something carries, okay? But if he can play in this game and be effective and be an integral part in some critical situations on regular downs, but especially in some special situations, I think that would be really beneficial for our team. I think it would be beneficial for Trey to take some of the load off of him and keep him fresh for 4 quarters. But also from a leadership standpoint, Cedric is a great leader and the guys really respond to him. And so the fact that he gets to put his uniform on this Saturday and play with those guys, I think is going to mean a lot to him that he's not going to be in street clothes on the sidelines.
That's great. He's not going to be in street clothes. Knock on wood, because anytime I talk about CJ Baxter, I have to knock on wood.
Yeah.
That he's going to be healthy for one play. But I told you earlier, I said it's hard to be a leader when you spend a lot of time in the hot tub or the ice tub. You know, it's hard to make the club in the tub, and it's
Yeah.
hard for you to lead in the training room when everybody else is out on the field. You know, working hard in the sun, in the heat, in the cold, and you know, you look good in your outfit on the sideline, but you're not playing. You're not contributing that way.
Right.
Nice to be a leader that way. That only goes so far when they see you on the sideline every week. They're looking at you. So you play? Nope, not this week. Next week? Nope. Oh, the week after? That's fine. But I mean, he has to be a contributor today. This can't be where C.J. Baxter comes in the game. If he's a contributor and he's in for a couple series, and he's, you know, every time he gets in, he gets pounded in the head, and you know, he doesn't have that maneuverability,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have that explosion. Well, that doesn't do him any good. If not, go grab that freshman that you have and give him a chance, because the rest of those guys, I know what they are. I already know what they are, and I just don't. What I don't want to be right about is that C.J. Baxter will be a guy who's limited a lot at the University of Texas as a running back and never hit near his potential because he's always hurt. And there's just, once again, it's a part of football. You have that at a certain positions. I've been around guys that just, no matter what, the minute they get on the field, you know, they can be cool in the locker room and everything else, but when they get on the field and somebody hits them and they start limping, you start looking, going, "Oh no,
Yeah.
not again."
Well, that's what happened in the UTEP game, right?
Yeah, I mean, he just, I don't want him to be that guy. I'd like for him to be that guy that's not injured all the time, that can come into a game like tonight and have 8 carries and look okay, and then after the end of the game, they're saying, you know what, he made it through this game. He looks pretty good. Next game, he's going to be okay. You win this game, you give your other running back a blow, because right now it's going to take him a while to be as good as Trey Wisner. I don't even know if he's ever as good as Trey Wisner, but to get even to that level, it's going to take him some time. He hadn't played in a while. And so if he can do some things to help out this offense and give Trey Wisner, as Sark says, a little bit of a break, that would be fantastic. And then maybe he's on his way to becoming the guy that a lot of people thought he was going to be. I'm still the knock on wood every time I see him go in the game guy. I'm not to the point where I feel confident enough that he can make it through a game or two without getting banged up or limping off the field.
Yeah.
Because I just think that's he's got that weird snake bite deal about him right now. That has to go away. And the only way that goes away, BK, is if he plays in 4 or 5 straight games.
I'm with you. And of
He
course,
has to do that.
he missed the entirety of the 2024 season, came back, missed all of the spring, missed some of fall camp as well. Came back, played against Ohio State, played against San Jose State on the very first carry he got against UTEP.
We all know that. We know athletes like that. You know the guys that you've even played, whether you're playing pickup ball or something at the gym, you already know that guy who's going to hurt his ankle. He's going to come back to the apartment, back to the dorm from playing intramural basketball, and dude's going to have a sprained ankle.
Yeah.
He's going to turn that ankle again. And every time he goes to that gym, he's going to come back limping and telling you, you know what? I think I just pulled a hammy. We all have those guys in our sports life, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It can be recreational sports. It can be golf. It can be one of my buddies who's going to take a swing and he's going to go, oh no, it's this part of my back that's crushing me.
And then you're like, maybe give it up, guy.
Let me go bowling. I mean,
probably get hurt bowling too.
Yeah, but it's just those guys are out there.
Yeah,
I'd love for a talented guy like that, who was one of the best running backs that came out of high school the year he came out, to have that success. And he looked like he was on his path, but the minute you saw him limping, and then it was the next time, and then it was the next time, it just builds up in your mind. So
yeah, the two wishful thinking comparisons that I have for C.J. Baxter are Jordan Whittington and DeMarvion Obershire.
Yes.
Remember the first couple of years they were at Texas?
Whittington was never going to play. It's never going to happen.
Could never stay on the field, and it's like, oh, we know these guys are so good, but they're never out there. Maybe we just start to give up hope, and then all of a sudden they stay healthy for a year and a half.
That's Whittington in the NFL.
Whittington's in the NFL. Overshown, of course, is hurt again,
right,
but he's the best linebacker on the Cowboys. Hell, even though he is hurt, he's probably better than the guys that they're trotting out there right now.
Yeah, he needs to have a couple games where he comes in. We don't see him limping at all. He goes over, has a Gatorade, comes back on the field. At the end of it, he's not on the list of injured or banged up. That's all he needs. He needs to have that 1 or 2 games back again. And tonight may be it. But I'm thinking Trey Wisner's going to get it done himself tonight anyway.
Okay.
So I feel really good about him. He's had enough time off right now.
Baxter hasn't played since September 13th. Today is October 25th. So
Wow.
more than a month off for C.J. Baxter, of course, dealing with that soft tissue hamstring injury. We'll see. But you just heard from Steve Sarkeesian there. Sounds like they've been ramping up C.J. Baxter in practice throughout the course of the week, and he's been responding well. So the hope is that it's pretty close to 100% and can actually give this team a much-needed lift in the run game.
Absolutely.
But obviously, Trey Wisner still your number one running back, and he was awesome against Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. Again, last week didn't get much help. Not a lot of running lanes, not a lot of holes for him to go through. But you would like more than 37 yards on the ground from your number one tailback.
Yeah, as much as they like Christian Clark, I mean, I can see what he is and what he's most of the time going to be, unless things just turn around for him. The freshman that has a little bit of twitch to him, they should have him ready to go play.
Simon?
Yeah, he should be playing. I mean, he should be in. If you need help, that should be the dude, BK, that needs to be getting carries.
Yeah.
That can give you more than just a spark, that can get you down the field 20, 25 yards if he breaks away and makes a guy miss.
That would be
so
nice.
So his time has been there.
I don't think we'll see much James Simon today.
That kind of scares me.
Well, I mean, I think Sark and Chad Scott are going to rely on Trey Wisner and C.J. Baxter.
And that's fine if they're healthy and they're ready to go, and we see that. I don't see the freshman. That's fine. Hey, your time will come.
We saw 3 combined carries from Christian Clark and James Simon at Kentucky.
Yeah, they have a trust thing about people too. They have this trust deal where once they trust you, they'll let you go in there and you can run around and you can be the next guy in an average yard and a half or whatever. But if they don't have any trust in you, you don't get that opportunity in these games to do it.
Ask Jarrett Gibson about that.
Yes.
He learned the hard way.
Yeah, and they talked glowingly about him.
They did. All right, well, let's give our offensive player of the game predictions, brought to you by our friends at Moonshine, Patio, Bar, and Grill. We'll talk about them here in a moment. We've been talking a lot about Arch Manning. We've been talking about this Texas run game. Buck, you have the honors. Who is your pick for offensive player of the game?
Well, we talked about a run game that if we can get to about 130, 140 as total, and that includes everybody, that if Trey Wisner can have 80 of those, he's gonna be my guy today.
80.
That's
all it takes.
That's all it takes for him. For an old running back coach, I've never used to even talked about that. If I would say that to my guys, they would be like, "You need to go coach at Kutztown or something."
You mean in the first half,
yeah,
right, coach?
You mean you're telling me I only need 80? But for this group to get 130, 140 BK, they'll be in the game.
I agree.
And that includes the quarterback, who's still one of the best runners. Now he's not. I've taken that away. He's not the best running back that they have. He's the second best behind Trey Wisner. If Trey Wisner is healthy, he and this offensive line can just have stalemates here or there. I think he'll be fine tonight.
Yeah, he no longer leads the team in rushing. Trey Wisner has passed him up.
Yeah, and I think Trey Wisner, if he has, as I said, stalemates, I'd like to see these guys become thumpers again and move the defensive line around, but you can't expect that. So if Trey Wisner, if you give him a stalemate and you're not totally whiffing on guys, I think he'll be fine because he has the ability to make you miss.
Who have I not picked this year? I'm going to try something new.
Why don't you go ahead and take that tight end again? Get it over with.
I'm not picking Jack Entries again. I think both of us have picked Jack Entries like 4 times.
I know I picked it twice.
To be the offensive player of the game, and he doesn't even get the football for some reason. I'm trying to think of somebody that I haven't gone with. Maybe DeAndre Moore? Have I picked DeAndre Moore yet?
No, you have not, but then that's a good pick.
We'll go with DeAndre Moore.
Yeah.
He played well against Mississippi State last year, scored a couple of touchdowns in the Horns win over the Bulldogs. Again, the short passing game, I think that is going to be what Texas
It's a great call.
I think it's going to be what they will do. I'm trusting Steve Sarkeesian. I'm holding him to his word. Because, again, on Thursday, he talked about doing more of what they did against Oklahoma, changing their philosophy up a little bit. And for me, that means more short, quick passes, maybe using the middle of the field a little bit more. That's
I think
both thrive.
With the 2 picks that we have, Trey Wisner and Moore, that means Arch is going to have a good game too. So that's a part of it right there. That's a good pick because I picked him twice too, and it hadn't happened.
DeAndre Moore?
No, Arch.
Oh.
And it's in the 2 games I picked, he hasn't had it done. But if those 2 guys have a good game, Arch is liable to be just as much a big part of what happens. Anyway, well, we can pick Arch every week.
Yeah.
But I'm sick of being wrong.
We need Arch to have
but I know, but I'm sick of being wrong. With him, it's like Jack Entries. I'm sick of picking those guys as the offensive players, and it doesn't happen. But I think that the 2 picks right there will make it that the quarterback has to be pretty good tonight too.
I was going to say, if DeAndre Moore has a good game, it's going to require Arch Manning hitting him a few times.
Absolutely.
So hopefully Arch can step his game up a little bit too. All right, our offensive player of the game predictions, Buck, brought to you by Moonshine, Patio.
Oh, my goodness. Place to go tomorrow and have the best brunch in town at the Moonshine Patio Bar and Grill. 2 locations, right downtown, right beside the convention center, and, of course, out there at Avery Ranch. And, man, what a spot for dad and mom to come into town and bring that credit card with them, take the whole night. If it's going to be the dorm or the apartment, and take them out to a fantastic brunch.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on in our town each and every week, of course, around here. They've had some construction down there, but they've got their own parking lot right there. So don't worry about parking. And it's not just about the brunch. They have fantastic dinners. They have a unbelievable trout dinner down at Moonshine Patio Bar. They've got some great comfort food that you would just, and you love the folks down there. You like the people and what they do at the Moonshine Patio Bar and Grill.
And they've got the bourbon slush too. I know you can't have any of that.
No, I don't. I wouldn't even know about that. How did you know about that?
Oh, I know about that because I like Moonshine Patio Bar and Grill.
The slush, huh?
They've
Bourbon
got
slush.
Oh, they've got a great drink menu. Tons of great cocktails, but also the bourbon slush. Fantastic way to cool down and easy to drink too. Let me tell you.
Nice.
Let me tell you. I love Moonshine Patio Bar and Grill. All right, Buck. The Clean Cause YouTube comments line. You tell me if you think this is a sincere comment that we have from Skiing is Medicine. Go Arch, go. We love and support you, buddy. I got a brand new pair of Warby Parkers at the beginning of the season. Hashtag I love Arch. Think that's a real comment, or do you think that's a troll based on the way Arch?
I really think that's. I'm gonna take it on the positive. That's somebody that's hoping that he has that game that they've been looking for.
You think Warby Parker
the game that they've been looking for?
Nicely done there. Sir.
Yeah, I think that's what they're hoping. I don't think they're being sarcastic in a way, but they're also they can lean towards, I want this guy to see everything today,
right,
and make the throws and make it happen today.
There's
so
some buyer's remorse from Warby Parker and Red Bull and Waymo right now.
No. This is for this guy right now. It only takes one of those games. He really hasn't. He's done some things against some teams that weren't great, BK, but I mean, I think he's got a whole lot of good football ahead of him.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think it's up. Once again, I think it's the head coach's job, who makes $12 million, and people are wondering if he's going off to the Miami Dolphins or somewhere the hell else,
right?
To get to know this young guy a little bit more than he says he knows him, and to get him comfortable in making those easy throws. As I said, I got to believe his uncle's been calling Sark up all week, going, dude, my nephew was really good in 7th and 8th grade, and I saw him throw the football. What happened? What have you done to my nephew? Seriously, what have you done to my nephew in 3 years that he doesn't look like a 7th grader or an 8th grader throwing, playing catchy catch in the backyard? So, I mean, it's up to the head coach to fix that stuff with the quarterback.
Yeah.
He's the quarterback guru. Fix it.
At times, he's looked like a 7th grader or an 8th grader out there. That's the problem.
Yeah, and if you have to get his, and 1 week we're hearing, we got, he has to get hit first, and we tell him to run into the stadium wall if that's what it takes to get you going in a game. Right now, the head coach should know by this time of the year. I mean, game number 8, what turns this guy? What turns his motor on? What turns him off? What I can do to help him out? Help him out, Sark.
Right.
All this other stuff. There's all this external stuff that's going on with your football program, and we know things happen with your offensive line. That's a part of football. Guys get hurt. You have to interchange that or whatever. If your offensive line coach can't coach offensive line, get another one at the end of the season. We'll understand that part too. But you coach the position that you're known for. Coach the quarterback position on a highly recruited and a highly touted quarterback, and get him going in the right direction, because there are throws to be had. Even though your offensive line is playing poorly, there are throws to be had that would make some of these games that you're supposed to be winning much easier. I mean, instead of these shootouts with Kentucky and losing to teams like Florida, you have enough throws that your guys should be making and getting this done. And that's on that guy.
100%.
That's on him. And and as much as, everybody's worried, is Sark thinking about leaving, is this or that, his job is to get the quarterback position right. And he's had plenty of time with this guy.
His job is to get this offense playing better.
I'm sorry. The offense is not just the quarterback, because he calls the plays. He should know this is his job to get that stuff going in the right direction. Your team is better than the team, once again, that you'll be playing tonight.
Yep.
You should be able to have a nice, easy win. There shouldn't be a lot of stress on you. Now, your guys are going to jump, because the cowbells are going to make you jump, because you have one of the dumbest teams in America. I do want to point that out.
That's on the coach too.
Yeah. I do want to point that out. That's a part of your deal too.
Right.
And your offensive line coach and your receiver coach and everybody else that's a part of this offense. You got to quit. You can't be dumb tonight. This is not a night to be dumb, because this thing can roll downhill at this place, I believe.
Well, look, if you're the head coach and you're going to stick with Arch Manning and you're going to stick with Nick Brooks at left guard and you're going to stick with this combination,
Make those decisions.
Yeah, you made your bed. You got to line it.
Yes,
You have to find a way to make things work with these guys if these are the guys that you were going to throw.
I agree.
There. So again, no in-season portal, no trade deadline. These are the guys that you have. How can you find a way to maximize their skill sets?
They're all guys that got scholarships to come play football at Texas.
Right.
They
You chose these guys.
Yes.
You chose them out of high school, but also you chose them by not bringing in more from the transfer portal this past offseason. So you picked these guys. These are the guys that you want. Find a way to make it work with them. And it's crazy. We're about to play game 8. This is the 2/3 mark of a 12-game regular season, and we're still trying to figure out what the identity of this offense is. Where can they turn? Who are the best players? Who are the leaders? All of these questions that we had the week of the Ohio State game. We're back in August.
You're right.
Here we are going into game 8. And we're still trying to figure it out, and the coaches too, and that's unfortunate.
It is. It is. Know your players. Know what you got. Know what they are physically, mentally, and everything else.
Yeah.
But the position that you truly really coach is that quarterback position. Get that right.
You're right.
That guy's talented enough. That's not. He may not be the greatest quarterback when it's all said and done. One of the greatest quarterbacks in college football history, or one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played at Texas. But he's better than he is, and you need to get to that point where he's a consistent. Hey, here's a guy over the middle, bang, easy throw, easy catch. Let's go.
Yeah. Texas, by the way, now an 8.5-point favorite.
Oh no, that thing is moving up.
Line's been going up.
Somebody knows something in Vegas.
It's interesting. I was wondering if the Diana Rossini report from early this morning was going to maybe move the line down a little bit, right? Some of the sharps are thinking, well, Steve Sarkeesian's distracted, and this Texas team may be thinking about other stuff right now. But no, the money's been coming in this morning and into the afternoon on the Longhorns.
Yeah, I think this is a team that should, once again, they've gotten away with a couple of wins where, how did they win that game?
Yeah.
Why are they having to struggle like this? This is maybe the one, BK, that they can just start to pull away from and get themselves back into the thick of things in the national hunt.
Lord knows they need
it. And they do need it.
Yeah. All right.
But once again, also for folks out there, there are going to be some things that are going to go a little haywire because of where they're playing. I believe that this is what will show you how good this team is and where they are mentally, how they bounce back from some silly things that are happening, because we know they're dumb.
Right.
We know that. I mean, folks, listen, this is a dumb football team.
Sure.
We know that now. But how are they going to bounce back when they make a silly mistake? Do they bounce right back, or they go, oh, no, here's another one on top of that one. Oh, no, here's another one. I'm not going to field the punt this time. I'm going to let it bounce back. We'll find out where they are right now mentally as football players and a football team tonight.
That's sort of what the Florida game turned into, right?
But it just kept going the other way.
Snowballed,
yeah,
right? It was a downward spiral from Texas, and those mistakes just kept piling on, and they kept shooting themselves in the foot, and ultimately they lost that football game.
Yeah, that's how I feel about next week when Vandy comes to town. This team will be sky freaking high. I mean, they will be out of their minds. Having a top 10 team in the nation at Vandy Wednesday, having a top 10 team come into Austin, Texas, with all the hype and the quarterback, this team will be out of their minds. Can't wait to play them. That's what they have to be tonight. I mean, it is, you only get to have these games, so many of these games. This one has to be the exact same way. I don't know if it will be as intense, but you don't need any stress tonight.
Well, here's the not so good stat for Texas, and I'm sorry to share this, but there's a recent trend going on in the Southeastern Conference that does not bode well for the Longhorns, and there are a number of teams around the conference that have to deal with this. Teams playing their second straight SEC road game this year, 0-3 in game 2. But here's what's more extreme. Since 2019, Buck, excluding the COVID years, so 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, there have only been 4 SEC teams that have won back-to-back consecutive road games in conference play. And here are the 4 teams, by the way. And you tell me if you think 2025 Texas is as good as any of these 4 teams. 2019 LSU, team that won the national championship.
Right, it was great. One of the greatest teams ever.
2022 Georgia, team that won the national championship.
Yes.
2023 Georgia, that was undefeated. They lost the SEC championship to Alabama. And 2023 Alabama,
Roll Tide,
that made the playoff, obviously won the SEC championship. Those are the only 4 teams in the entire conference since 2019 that have been able to win back-to-back true road games in the SEC.
Well, this would be great for Sark to come to the podium on Monday and say, hey, Do you know what we did? Do you realize what we just did?
Sure. He'll say that right after the game today. We won't have to wait till Monday.
Yeah, he can say that, and then we'll all be happy about that if he can do that.
3-1 in the SEC. And
Yes.
mention that stat right
And
there.
mention that stat right there. There you go.
And I guess he should.
Sure, he should. Why wouldn't you?
That's a pretty crazy stat right there. So I'm paying attention, like this Ole Miss Oklahoma game. We're about to get to our scoreboard updates powered by Gobundance. Ole Miss was up early. Oklahoma is taking a lead. Ole Miss is one of those teams today that's playing their second straight road game, trying to win. There's Tennessee playing their second straight road game. Missouri playing their second straight road. There's a bunch of teams, A&M at LSU tonight, that are trying to sort of buck this recent trend. Obviously, Texas trying to do the same thing. So we'll see. But this has not been a favorable spot for teams in this league.
Not very exciting.
No.
That's not very exciting news.
And none of those games and none of those teams have any bearing on what's going to happen this afternoon in Starkville. But that is what Texas is up against today. All right, let's get to our first round of scoreboard updates powered by our friends at Gobundance, where elite men build wealth, brotherhood, and a life without limits. We'll tell you a little bit more about them in a moment. Looking around the country, Buck, at some of these 11 a.m. games, Indiana is good at football.
They are good.
I know UCLA.
They used to be good at basketball.
It's like they traded all of their basketball success for football success. It's amazing. And I know they're playing a UCLA team that has already fired their head coach, but UCLA's been playing a lot better.
They have.
They're 3-1 in the Big Ten.
Yes, they are.
And Indiana right now, in the final minute of the third quarter, leads UCLA 49-6. Game was 35-3 at halftime. It hadn't gotten any closer here in the second half. IU, the number 2 team in the country, they're going to stay there. They're really
and they look to roll it up when they play people too. They don't stop trying to score.
No. And I was wondering, like, okay, Kurt Cignetti gets that big contract extension. Could this be a little bit of a letdown spot for Indiana? Like maybe the coach takes his foot off the gas a little bit because he just got paid and now he's set for life.
No, he's keeping himself set for life.
He's keeping himself set for life. Yeah, he might ask for another extension after the year, the way things are going right now. Mentioned the Oklahoma score. That's been a very entertaining game in Norman. End of the third quarter, OU 26, Ole Miss 25. The Rebels had a big lead in the first half, but Oklahoma with the strong third quarter, they've come back. They've taken the lead. Ole Miss has the ball to start the fourth quarter. It seems like that one's going to be a fun one to keep an eye on. Other ranked games in progress right now. How about Bill Belichick, Buck? His North Carolina team tied with number 16 Virginia 10-10, 7.5 minutes to go in regulation there.
Anybody in ACC are pretenders anyway. We know that.
I think you're right. South Florida all over Memphis 31-17.
Well, we knew that was coming.
I know that's a game you and your cousin were very high on. And then Georgia Tech leading Syracuse 34-10. Georgia Tech, if there's any team in the ACC that might not be a pretender,
I agree.
Georgia Tech ranked number 7. They're 7-0, and they are taking care of business at home against Syracuse right now. One other SEC game going on.
Arkansas.
One that Hugh Freeze better win. Arkansas 21, Auburn 16.
Ooh.
5 minutes to play in the third quarter in Fayetteville. Yeah, we know that's a hot seat game for Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, he needs to have that win.
I think he's trying to get fired so he can golf a little more the rest of the way. So those are all of your scores from the ranked games going on right now. We will give one more scoreboard update before we wrap things up. But that's what's going on around the country. And, of course, the scoreboard updates brought to you by Gobundance. Texas football is built on legends, from DKR setting the standard to Mac Brown bringing home a national championship to Vince Young and Colt McCoy leading by example. The Longhorn way is more than talent. It's about discipline, brotherhood, and rising to the occasion. That's the same spirit behind Gobundance, a community of high-achieving men, business professionals, investors, and leaders who push each other to win, not just in business, but in life. If you're ready to live like a champion, then Gobundance is your team. Join the tribe today at gobundance.com/TSU. That's GOBUNDANCE.com/TSU.
Love it. Big shout out to our friends over at Horseshoe Bay Resort. Now, folks, if you're coming into town next week, or whether you're coming into town or just in town and want to get away for a little bit, head on out to Horseshoe Bay and check out some of the great golf courses and the great amenities they have at their wonderful hotels. And, of course, the floating bar on Lake LBJ. Boy, is that something special out there, boy. Horseshoe Bay is a special place, not very far from downtown Austin, but it is a chance to get away without really getting away. And if you're a golfer, you won't find a better place in the state of Texas than the incredible golf courses that they have for different types of golf courses out at Horseshoe Bay.
Yeah.
Go to horseshoebayresort.com for more information.
And a nice getaway without having to get on a plane.
Yeah, that's great.
Having to deal with TSA and all the jabronis we see at the airport these days.
Absolutely. That is a wonderful place to go is Horseshoe Bay.
Some of the
Love the folks
videos
out there.
that we show on our show, the way people act at airports and airplanes these days.
You don't want to do that.
You get to avoid all that. Just get in your car, drive for a little bit, and
And
go
you're there.
have a nice getaway. Yeah, that's the move. Love Horseshoe Bay Resort. All right, Buck, we've spent a lot of time talking about this Texas offense against the Mississippi State defense, but let's flip the script here, talk about this Longhorn defense going up against the Mississippi State offense. Talking a little bit about the Bulldogs, Blake Shapen, their quarterback.
Yes.
Guy that Longhorn fans are very familiar with, not because he played against Texas last year. No, he was injured for the game here in Austin last October. But Blake Shapen started his college career at Baylor, played against Texas back in 2022. He's 24 years old. My advice to him would be get a real job. Football is not for you. But here he is still playing football, 24. And we'll see what he's got today.
He's one of those streaky kind of players. If he gets going, he can go in the right direction in a good way. But if he goes the wrong direction and he gets hit a few times, because he's been hit a lot in his career.
Yeah.
He's been injured a lot. So, he's capable because of his experience. What he has around him, I just don't know if they have enough. Fluff's not playing. The running back, Fluffy's not playing. Is it Fluffy or just Fluff?
Just Fluff.
Just Fluff.
You've been calling him Fluffy all week.
Okay.
Yep.
Whatever. Fluffy, Muffy, or whatever his name is for a running back. That they're going to be missing him today.
We don't know that. He's a game time
That's
decision.
right. He's a game time decision.
Right.
Close to probable, which means he probably won't play, but or he probably will play.
I think that's
look
what
at it that way.
Yeah.
But I think the quarterback position is okay. I think he's okay.
He's okay.
But he gets rattled a little bit. He gets to firing the ball. He's a high thrower. He's one of those guys that is ducking out of things, but he still wants to try to make the play, BK, and he throws a little high.
Yeah.
At times.
Well, here's the thing for Blake Shapen, and I'm sure a lot of quarterbacks around the country have this type of problem, but Blake Shapen this year has been really good with a clean pocket, completing 74% of his passes, 9.2 yards per attempt, 9 touchdowns, just 1 interception with a clean pocket this year. When he's been pressured, only 36 attempts, 4 interceptions on those 36 attempts. So if you were able to get pressure in a perfect world, you could do it with just 4. So you could drop 7 in coverage, take care of those wide receivers that they have. They got a couple of speedsters on the outside. But if you're able to get pressure on Blake Shapen, he's going to make some mistakes. He's going to put the ball in harm's way. There are some opportunities for your defense.
Now, where does that put PK today? I mean, without Michael Taft in the secondary right now, are you taking chances and bringing blitzers and leaving guys on an island by themselves? That's going to be the cat and mouse game, because I think you still have to pressure this guy at quarterback.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest story for Texas on defense, right? No Michael Taft. We found out in the middle of the week that he had surgery on a broken thumb. We'll see when he returns, but he was quickly ruled out for today's game. So
right.
The good news is you've got some experience at safety behind him. Derek Williams Jr. Enters the starting lineup, third-year player who's played a ton of ball at Texas. You've got Xavier Filsaime back. He missed the game against Kentucky, but he's a second-year safety that has played a good amount of football this year for the Longhorns. So you shouldn't deal with too many problems. There shouldn't be too much of a drop-off. But look, we know how good Michael Taft is. We know he's the heart and soul of this defense. And you're going up against a Mississippi State team that loves deep shots.
Right.
They love throwing it down the field. Obviously, having safeties who know what they're doing on the back end can help prevent that. Not having Michael Taft, without question, a big storyline.
Yeah, I still think you have to come out to the quarterback. You got to force him with pressure, as you said.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to take your chance and know that your backups are very capable of doing a really, really good job. And you need to have turnovers, because once again, this offense, which you're trying to get to 24 points, you need to turn them over. You need to get the ball back for the offense, no matter whether the offense scores or not. You need to still help out your offense.
100%. I mean, that's it. This offense needs help.
Yes.
It sucks that it needs as much help as it does, but the reality of the situation is they need all the help that they can get.
Yeah, so you have to take chances. You have to blitz the quarterback.
Yeah, you got to get pressure on them. So, again, if you're able to do it with 4, that's great. That's best case scenario right there. But if you can't, if they're 5 or blocking your 4, you can't just let Blake Shapen sit there in the pocket and pick you apart. He is good enough to do that. There's not a super high ceiling with him, but the floor is high enough to where he can win this football game today. You cannot let that guy be comfortable.
No, you cannot.
There. It's a huge key for this Texas defense.
Okay, I'm seeing pizza out here. I'm seeing slices of pizza. This place has pizza.
They got pizza.
Pizza.
You want some?
No, not really, but I'm seeing people walk around with like trays and slices.
Is that an
Nice.
Italian accent there? What were you just going for?
Pizza.
What is that?
I love some pizza.
Is that an impression of somebody?
No. That's just me.
That's just you being you.
Just being my girl voice.
What's your that's your girl voice?
Yeah, it is.
I've met a lot of girls.
Don't
Never
sound
heard
like
any
that.
of them sound like that. I don't know what the hell that is. What's the go-to topping on a pizza?
For me, I'm a mushroom guy. Mushroom or sausage.
Mushroom or sausage?
Mushroom and sausage too.
Okay.
You can do either one.
That's your number one? Mushroom?
I'm a mushroom pizza.
What kind of mushrooms are we talking about here?
Shrooms.
There you go. Yeah, I know you're big into those these days.
Yes, that's what
You
I
and
like.
your
about
wife
pizza.
just lock each other, like you lock yourself in the house and just a
Shrooms.
couple of shrooms these days.
Absolutely. I love shrooms on some pizza. I really do. I'm not exotic.
That is
Pizza
pretty
guy.
exotic. I
It
think.
is?
I don't know if
You don't mess around with just mushrooms on your pizza?
I'll have mushrooms on the pizza, but I'll never have like just mushrooms and cheese.
Really? I do
Yeah.
just cheese and mushrooms. I can do that.
I don't think I've ever asked anybody that question and gotten that response. So it is very exotic of you.
Very
You
nice.
said it like pepperoni. Like most people will say like a pepperoni or something like that. Not like a mushroom is the number one.
At one time, I'd do sardines if they had them.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it is.
You're putting sardines on a pizza.
Oh man, used to eat sardines out of the can with mustard
That's
and a cracker.
That's also disgusting.
That is disgusting.
Yeah. Did you have to do that as a kid?
I mean, I learned from them. It was okay. It really never bothered me.
It bothers me just hearing it
Yeah,
decades after it actually happened.
little keys that you just twist off the cans of sardines and you
Yes.
slap some mustard on there with a cracker and just slam it down.
I'm gonna
I
be
learned how to
sick.
do that.
I'm gonna be sick.
It was oily and nasty.
Yeah, it sounds oily and nasty, but they do have great pizza here at Victory Lap. Of course, tons of great drinks. They will have the game on every screen. They've got the giant turf patio. They've got a massive screen outside. They're going to have the sound on the SEC network as well. So if you're looking for a place to watch Texas and Mississippi State, Victory Lap is where you need to be. And of course, they're not just open today. They're open for every game. If you want to watch some NFL tomorrow, come by. They'll be open for that.
Don't forget to tip the wait staff and bartenders.
They're doing a great job. And they're being forced to listen to us against their will. So you absolutely should take care of them.
Yes, I think they wanted to listen to Taylor Swift instead.
There was a lot of Taylor Swift.
There was a lot
being
going
played
on
earlier.
this morning.
She's your old pen pal, right?
Yes, she is.
Yeah. When's the last time you've talked to her?
It's been some years. She's
Okay.
gone. She's gone through some transitions.
She's gone big time.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she's transformed herself into whatever she wants to be.
And you've transformed yourself.
To whatever I want to be. Yeah.
I'm still not sure what that is. Back to this football game for the Texas defense, Buck. Yeah.
Oh, look who scored.
Something Ole Miss is just taking the lead at OU, by the way. That game has been back and forth. So what's interesting, something that I don't think we've talked about much this week, Blake Shapen's the starter for Mississippi State. No real controversy there. But they do have a freshman, a true freshman backup. His name is Camario Taylor. He had 5 carries last week for 13 yards against Florida. So they gave him some snaps. Buck, he is 6'4", 230. He is a big boy and a power runner. So we might see, I don't know if you want to call it some wildcat, maybe some zone read. I don't know. That's a wrinkle to the Mississippi State offense that they've started to incorporate the last couple of weeks, and the most times they used it 7 days ago against Florida. So that is something that maybe the Texas defense, they've seen it on film. I'm sure PK's been preparing for it. There's a little wrinkle there that Mississippi State could employ today.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I like the big 18-wheeler looking dudes that run up in there, because they only get to do that a couple times during the course of the game. They don't get to play running back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not going to give him 7 or 8 carries like that. I don't believe.
We'll see.
If they have some success, not too many people have success running in the middle of the field with this Texas. And he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's going to bounce outside and hurt you that way.
No. And what I think the game plan for Mississippi State is going to be similar to what Kentucky did last week. They are going to try to dominate the time of possession.
Yes.
They're going to try to control the clock with the run. Now, Mississippi State will take more shots down the field than Kentucky. They've got better athletes on the outside.
Better quarterback.
They've got a better quarterback as well. So they will take their opportunities, but they want to control the clock. Like Jeff Lebby is Art Briles' son-in-law. There are a lot of similarities in their offenses. Everybody thinks about the Baylor offenses during their heyday as, all they would do is take these deep shots down the field. No, they wanted to run the football.
Yes.
That was the identity of the offense. That is what Mississippi State is going to try to do. They're going to try to run close to 90 plays the way that Kentucky did last week. And
no doubt.
For the Texas defense, yes, they did so much right against Kentucky. 13 points allowed in a 5-quarter game. To me, nothing else matters that much. But it would have been nice if they got off the field a little bit more last week. It would be nice if they can get off the field a little bit more today.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's hard to say anything about the defense, and I do this to you every week, and you let me know that this defense is pretty good. But I also say, you know what, as well as you're playing, there are opportunities to go 3 and out. You're allowed to continue to do that.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be an 8-play drive where they use up clock. Get them at 3 and out, get them off the field. Now your offense may come in there and go 3 and out too.
Right.
And that has happened too, but it doesn't stop you from letting teams go 7, 8, 9 plays. That doesn't have to happen. 3 and outs are a good thing.
Absolutely.
And this team is good enough to have a bunch of 3 and outs.
It'd be nice to see today.
Yes, this would be great to see.
Yeah.
Don't let them control the ball and think they're in control of the football game.
No, and again, Fluff Bothwell, Mississippi State starting running back, a game time decision. So
Yeah.
we'll see if he tries to give it a go. If he does give it a go, how effective will he be? He is their best runner. Now, their backup is a guy named Devon Booth, who's solid.
Booth is pretty good. I've seen him play. He's good.
He played here in Austin last year. He would maybe start on Texas. That's kind of where these running backs are right
It's
now.
pretty good. He's not a big guy, but he's pretty physical.
He's a solid player. So
Yeah.
it's not like they go from a really good player to a total nobody.
You're right.
But they've got a nice 1-2 punch if both of those guys are healthy. We will see what Bothwell does. And then on the outside for Mississippi State, they've got some burners on the outside. 2 really talented wide receivers, Brennan Thompson, the Texas and OU transfer, right? His freshman year at Texas in 2022, spent the last 2 years at Oklahoma, year 1 at Mississippi State. He's averaging 18.5 yards per catch.
He wants to have a big game.
He is fast. He's a Texas kid, right? From the state of Texas. Bucky, he won the state 3A 200 meter as a junior in 2021.
Yeah, he wants to have a big game.
So sometimes we say like track star and it's like, oh, congrats. The guy was the guy who lifted up the bar on the high jump after somebody knocked it over. No, this guy was really fast. He's one of the fastest dudes in the state of Texas. Not easy. I don't care if it's 3A. Not easy to win a state championship in a track and field event in the Lone Star State.
No doubt.
So he's a bit of a burner there. You got to pay attention to him. And then Anthony Evans, another Texas kid, went to Converse Judson, bigger school. He was a state finalist in a few different track events. About 42 catches, 471 yards, and 2 touchdowns for him. He's their leading receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy you got to lock down.
Yeah.
He's the one you don't want to let to get behind him. Because he can catch and he can get it done.
So track speed right there.
Yes.
And again, this is a team with Jeff Levy. They like to take their shots. They want to run the ball, but they also want to hit you over the top with those plays. And they have the skill guys on the outside to do it. So if you're Texas, again, no Michael, you can't lose anybody.
No.
You can't. If you're a safety, you can't buy it on a play action fake. If
No.
you're a corner, you can't buy it on a double move. They're going to try that stuff, and they're going to try to get behind.
They're going to try everything. You think your team comes out doing double passes and everything else. Coach Levy's going to try a little bit of everything today.
And I'll say this about Coach Levy. Remember, he was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma for that 2023 game that Texas lost. Sorry to bring that up, but like there haven't been a lot of offensive coordinators that have been able to get to Pete Kwiatkowski. Jeff Levy was a couple of years ago.
That's right.
Now, last year, not a ton, but Mississippi State didn't really have the talent. They just weren't very good. But like, he is a good offensive mind, and he's gonna, like you said, he'll have some tricks up his sleeve.
He will have
today.
some tricks. They've worked hard. If they can find a cheap score somewhere, they're going to try it today.
They're pretty desperate, aren't they?
Yes.
15 consecutive conference losses.
And they'd like to have a game like this. I mean, Texas, like I said, hadn't been there. They hadn't been in this kind of atmosphere. And, we've talked to people throughout the SEC, and no matter what you think, that 60,000 seat stadium is going to be loud today.
Oh yeah. Well, the cowbells will be.
Yeah. It's not like 100,000 cowbells, but this one is going to be loud enough. It's going to be distracting.
Well, I wonder if they each bring 2. Is that possible? Like, you can have cowbells in each hand.
I think you can do whatever you want to in your home stadium.
There could be 120,000 cowbells that Texas has to deal with.
Yeah, it'll be loud. It's annoying on the TV set when you watch the game.
Yeah. There's a lot of SEC road trips that I hope to make to watch Texas play.
No, this was not one.
That might be the bottom of the list, like below Kentucky, below anybody else that you could think of, or anywhere else that you could think of.
Anywhere else, you're right.
It's nothing against Starkville, although it might be against Starkville.
I've heard Columbia is a great place to go to a game.
Which Columbia?
Columbia is South Carolina.
Okay. You got Columbia, Missouri, too, and you got the country there if you want to hang out with Steve Harvey down there. I don't know. But, it's going to be obnoxious today. It is going to be obnoxious. Sark was actually asked about that. We can transition to the cowbells here before we give our defensive player of the game prediction. And I do want to talk about the weakness for the Mississippi State offense that I think Texas can really exploit today. But here is Coach Sark from his Thursday press conference. He was asked about, preparing for those cowbells? How do you get ready for one of the most unique atmospheres in college football?
First of all, I think it's an awesome atmosphere. And in the SEC, I think that's one of the coolest things about this league is you go on the road and everybody's got their own niche, right? Everybody's got their own thing that is unique to their home game environment. And for Mississippi State to have the cowbells, I think that is a really cool thing for college football and that our guys get to experience, quite frankly. Hopefully we can have a little less cowbell ringing going on Saturday, but we do pipe it in. We've got cowbells ringing at practice. And again, it tasks you to stay focused. To me, I think that's more so than it's just the overbearing noise. It's the focus of hearing those bells ring. And so, we think we've addressed it. We've done a good job this week of handling it, from a pre-snap perspective. But staying focused is one of the key ingredients to this.
Yeah, for a team that's one of the highly penalized teams in the nation, that's hard.
Yeah,
that's going to be hard because it's hard for them to focus when it's dead silent, much less when cowbells have been ringing in your ears. So, and it's the communication of the offensive line. It's your communications when you're on the sideline with your coaches and all that stuff is ringing. It's just hard. I mean, distractions. You get enough distractions when the ball gets snapped. As a player, you have to think about this, have to think about that, but you got to hear all that kind of crap going on in the back of your head too.
Right. Yeah. Texas averages 7.9 penalties per game on the year, and that ranks in the bottom 20 in college football. So it's been a problem for them. Last week it was only 2 penalties for the offense.
Yes.
So they were not fazed by, a hostile road environment against Kentucky, but still 7 penalties on a team. That's more than you would like. And again, we keep referencing the Oklahoma game. Like, that was such a good performance for Texas that it feels like we know what they are capable of doing because we literally saw it. It's not like I was just imagining anymore. It's like, no, when they're buttoned up, they can play like that in all 3 phases.
Yes.
Only 4 penalties against OU, a season low. That was the cleanest game that they have played.
By the way, it's loud in there every year.
Of course it is. That's an atmosphere. You talk about how the cowbells.
Yes.
That's a unique atmosphere that you don't
certainly
get anywhere else. There's nothing like Texas OU anywhere in the country. Now, some of the guys on Texas have played in that game in recent years.
You're right.
Texas hasn't played in Starkville since 1991. None of these guys were alive the last time this game happened. But, they were able to handle the craziness of Dallas. But obviously, they're 1-2 in true road games, and the one was last weekend.
Yeah, that will be a sad outcome if it's because they're distracted by, what's going on around them. And they can't focus enough in this game, and that's the reason why you don't win the game.
With the noise or with the coach's agent trying to get him more money?
Well, just any of the distraction. If you're distracted during the course of a football game, that's too bad.
Yeah,
that's too bad. Your team wouldn't deserve to win if these certain things distract you. Now, if you get distracted for a play or 2 during the course of a game, that happens. That happens to every team.
Right.
But you can't say that the reason the cowbells were too much for us to handle,
That's an SEC championship game.
Right.
Your head coach has talked about that. He said that before Kentucky, and look, they won. It was a pretty ugly SEC championship game, but they did.
But he was
win.
right at the end. It was a win.
Yeah, got to find a way to win. You have to have the intensity in this game today, because if you lose this one, again, all of your goals before the year, right now, they are still intact. Still win the SEC, still make it to the playoff. You lose this game today, and you're on very, very thin ice.
We're trying to get bowl eligible here.
Oh, yeah. Let's get bowl eligible today.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a conversation in 3 weeks where it's like, wait, you lost to Mississippi State, you lost to Vanderbilt, you lost to Georgia, and it's like, wait, can we win one of these last 2 to get to I'd like to not have to deal with that.
Let's just get that over with today.
Yeah, let's get to 6-2 on the year.
That could be our topic on Monday.
Yeah.
Hey, we're bowl eligible.
Bowl eligible. And look, if they do win and look good, I mean, it's more than just winning, I think, for a lot of Texas fans at this point.
Absolutely.
But if they do win this game today, that will be 3-1 in the month of October. And we talked about this stretch being a season definer for Texas. It's so unique where you go a month and a half without playing a game at home.
You're right.
3 road games, and obviously Texas OU, which was technically a home game for the Longhorns, but of course it wasn't. So if you're able, I know you're not playing the best teams in the SEC. Florida fired their coach already. Kentucky may fire their coach. Mississippi State's coach, who knows? But if you can go 3-1, you put yourself in a good spot going into the month of November. Now, the schedule gets tougher in terms of the teams you play, but 3 of your last 4 games are here in Austin. That should benefit you.
You need the success of a win and a win the right way today.
You do. Absolutely. If you lose this game, then it's all of a sudden it's like, well, shit, who we got to beat?
Yeah, I mean, this can't be a heartbreaker field goal. You have to win the game, period.
Yes. Win the game. That's the number one goal, but
Absolutely.
also look good doing it.
Yeah,
good teams win, great teams cover.
Yeah, your offense needs to look good today.
It does. Well, while we finish up our conversation on the Texas defense against the Mississippi State offense, let's hit our defensive player of the game prediction, brought to you by Kenfield Golf Cars. Buck, who you got?
I'm going to take Anthony Hill again, back-to-back weeks. I mean, this guy's been a tackling machine. You know, him down to the goal line last week, he's a special player that's now playing special, but that guy's been playing special ever since he set foot at the University of Texas. He's just a go-getter. He's just a player that you wish you had everybody play like the way that guy plays. And he doesn't take off for a down here. He's always running in full speed. He's doing things full gear. They need him to play really, really well today. They need to be all over the place. Not having Michael Taff out there as a tackler. He's going to need a couple extra tackles, I believe, today in this football game.
Yeah, he led Texas with 12 tackles last week in Lexington. I mean, he was all over the field, had the one takeaway for Texas, that interception.
An incredible interception. Oh, yes.
He got hurt. Like, he hurt his hand like 2 or 3 plays before. Came back out on the field, made a great athletic interception. Yeah, he's playing like the preseason All-American and the future first-round pick.
No doubt.
And that's good news. I'm going to go with the other preseason All-American, right? With Michael Taff out, you need your other 2 best players on defense to step up. You went with Anthony Hill. I'm going to go with Colin Simmons.
Okay.
He's been
better, been much better.
It's been amazing. I mean, he's got 5.5 sacks in the last 2 games. Think about how much he struggled in the first month of the year.
I didn't know if he was going to ever show up.
He's now 2nd in the SEC in sacks and 7th in the country in sacks. That's how much he's done in these last couple of games.
Yeah, he got to stay in that streak right now.
And he has been back-to-back co-SEC defensive lineman of the week with what he did in Dallas and then again in Lexington. So he's a monster. And looking at this Mississippi State offense, their biggest weakness, and from talking to a couple of people who cover the team, they are very nervous about their offensive line going up against Texas's pass rush. They are very weak at tackle, especially. Their left tackle, Blake Steen, is out for the year. He's been hurt for a while, and the guys that they brought in just haven't been good enough. They are 116th in the country in sacks allowed.
Strip sacks.
They have given up 20 sacks in only 7 games this year, and I don't think they've played an edge room as good as Texas's. So with Colin Simmons, Ethan Burke as well, you can mention him. You can mention Colton Vosick. You can mention Trey Moore. You can mention Lance Jackson, the true freshman who's been really good.
Yeah, Trey Moore's been kind of quiet lately.
Yeah, I think all of those guys are going to have some opportunities today. But, Colin Simmons, he's the best of the bunch. He's been playing like his ass has been on fire.
Absolutely.
And I think that continues today. I think he has another crooked number worth of sacks and hopefully a strip sack too.
Hopefully. You got to have a couple strip sacks. And he had that ball turned over today.
Well, hopefully, Buck. Texas forced 4 fumbles last week. You know how many they recovered?
1.
0.
Yeah, that's right. They seem to jump over the top of the ball.
Yeah, 2 of them were muff punts. 2 of them were on defense. 1 of them was by Colin Simmons, and it's like
you've got to get 1 or 2 of those.
If you're going to force 2 fumbles, you got to get at least 1.
You're right.
If you force 4, you should be getting 2. And somehow, some way, look, Texas had 1 takeaway. It was the interception that we just brought up. But I do expect the ball to be on the ground today. Forcing fumbles is great. They don't mean that much if you don't recover.
Absolutely.
So that would be nice. If Colin Simmons is going to get that strip sack that we're talking about,
he's got to get it.
Hey, Travis Shaw, when you dive on the football, cover the football. Or Anthony Hill, don't try to glove it like bear paw it with one hand. Just follow the football.
It's going to be your ball.
So again, it goes back to the offense needing the help that it can get.
Right.
That's how you help them out right there.
You're right.
Is
get on
those
fumbles.
takeaways. So if you can have 2 or 3 of those today against the Mississippi State offense, that will give you some. Then that's best case scenario for Texas.
Got to have it.
Got to have it. All right, defensive player of the game prediction brought to you by Kenfield Golf Cars, serving the Austin area since 1979. If you or somebody you know is in the market for a golf cart, nobody does it better than Kenfield. And their service is also incredible. We always talk about, the carts that you can get new and used, whether they're multi-passenger or utility or just rentals as well. But the service is what sets them apart.
For sure.
They are fantastic. Oh, nice. Some Victory Lap hats coming our way.
Yeah.
Love that. Kenfield Golf Cars, they are there for you every step of the way. Just give them a call, 512-258-8515 or go to the website, KenfieldGolfCars.com. They want to turn your golf cart dreams into reality.
Nice.
Look at this little guy, huh?
That is kind of cool.
A walking beer. A walking beer with the little victory lap pennant being held right there. It's a clean look.
That is a clean look.
Put that guy on camera right there. All right, we've got just over 20 minutes left in our pregame show. Again, we are live at Victory Lap. If you're looking for a last-minute place to watch Texas and Mississippi State, this is where you need to be. The game will be on every screen. They've got the great turf patio outside.
Temperature's nice out there.
Temperature's nice. I don't want to say anything about the rain. I don't want to jinx anything, but so far, so good. So, yeah, great day to be outside and a great day to watch some Texas football. Buck, let's get to your 3 keys to a Texas victory, brought to you by our friends at Sue Patrick.
Okay, of course, number 1, BK, 5 penalties or less. I'm bringing back the P word.
5.
5 penalties or less
You
today.
said 12 the other day.
Yeah, I'm saying, I said there's going to be 12, but I'm asking them to give us 5, okay?
Oh, my God.
Remember, I said there will be 12, but I'm asking for 5
So
or
you're
less
not
penalties.
confident in your own key.
No, I'm not confident in that key at all. Play smart football. Don't be dumb.
Is that number 1 or is that number 2?
That's number 1.
That's all part of number 1.
Yeah, don't be dumb.
Don't be
today.
dumb.
Yes. I need to have a average of about 3.5 to 4 yards a clip in the rush game today.
God,
Yes.
that is such a low number.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, okay, then I won't take it to 3. How about 4 yards? I need 4 yards a clip.
All right.
That'll be good. We're trying to get to 130 yards and turn them over. 3 turnovers by the defense today.
Wow.
3 turnovers. I mean, or special teams too. You can turn them over. If they want to fumble the punch, please get to them. 3 turnovers today. You need 3 turnovers for this offense for sure. But I think one of the real keys is, BK, play smart football today. And that's including the quarterback. The quarterback's doing pretty well of not turning the ball over anymore, throwing interceptions. But if you got an easy throw, come on, be smart. Make that easy throw. Make it easy, make the easy things easy today.
Yeah.
For your football team. But those are the 3 keys I think that really are going to do it. I'm not looking for a 200-yard game. I'm just looking for about a 130, 125 yards. But give me 4 yards of rush, 4 yards of pop. It should be okay.
So 5 penalties or less, 4 yards of carry on the ground, and 3 takeaways from the Texas defense.
5 penalties is not going to happen. This group is too dumb.
Well,
you know that.
If that's a key to victory, then you don't think Texas is going to win? You don't think they could keep it to 5 penalties or less? How you feeling about the outcome?
I guess when I say 5, I really, in my mind, thinking of the 7 that they had last week.
Okay, you're changing your mind here.
Yeah,
Why?
But I just think I think they're going to be distracted. I think the distractions of this place is going to bother a lot of young guys that are playing in different spots today.
Yeah,
I do. But what you can't have is the real dumb ones. You're expecting the offensive line to get a little jittery, but I don't expect their wide receivers to flinch. I don't expect this team to have penalties where they can't line up when it's time to punt the ball.
Right. Yeah, that was weird.
Those kind of weird. That's you can't have that.
No.
And if you're going to give me the penalties, please don't make it 1st and 15. Don't do that to me. I hate 1st and 15 when you turn around and hand it off for 2. That's I don't want Arch to have to go 3 straight downs of throwing the football.
We have enough evidence to know that this Texas offense isn't good enough to overcome being behind the chains.
No.
Like those are drive killers, even 5-yard penalties, which all
right.
They're annoying, but they shouldn't. If you have a good offense, you should be able to overcome
I agree.
start, something like that. But for this team, no, if it's 1st and 15, they're
this
done.
team is behind the chains, you worry.
Yeah, absolutely. So playing ahead of the chains is a big one, and I think those kind of tie into your first 2 keys.
Yeah,
right?
and I think these 3rd down runs, these short yardage runs, 2.5, 3. You got to get a bunch of those. Your percentage has to be high of getting those, because I don't like the 4th down play. I don't see a lot of doing that. I don't want to see this team being a bunch of 4th and 1s, 4th and 2s where they have to go for it. I'd rather for them to go ahead on 3rd down and to get it. If you want to turn around and hand it off, and CJ Baxter is going to play for you today at 230 pounds, you need to get that 1st down if you're going to run it.
Agreed. Yeah, Texas was not good in 3rd and short and 3rd and medium situations last week. So you'd like for them to improve that. So
absolutely.
Keep drives alive. Again, only 8 first downs. I hope Texas has like double-digit first downs in the first half today against Mississippi State. They had 8 in a 5-quarter game in Lexington. So, yeah, playing ahead of the chains, not shooting yourself in the foot, running the football effectively. Those are all paramount for the Longhorn offense having a much better showing.
And then, and of course, they're playing against one of the better secondaries in the SEC, if not the best secondary this is where your quarterback has to be smart with the ball.
And he has been.
Yes.
For all of Arch Manning's faults, like
Yes,
he's not turned the ball over in the last 2 games. And I mean, that's key. Like, you don't want to put the ball in harm's way.
You're right.
So you don't want to give this road crowd a chance to get super excited. Be smart with the football. Don't be careless. To me, that comes along with playing smart. It's not just the penalties. It's like not making bad decisions, not putting the football in harm's way. Those are all things that you need from this offense today.
Yeah, and if he's going to take off and run, this would be a great day to do it. You're talking about disheartening a team that thinks I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. He's dropped back and he's got pressure on him. And you see the time where, what I talked about earlier in the year, where just take off and run with it. If you're feeling kind of weird about your accuracy, take off and run. We'll take 8 yards. Nobody's going to be mad at you.
No, that'd be fine. Hopefully he's more effective running the football, though, than he was last week.
Yes.
I think it was 14 carries for Arch Manning.
Well, I think he got kind of tired. I mean, he was dropping back and thinking of having to go a lot last week.
That did it.
He had a lot of pressure on him to move around in that pocket and have to run with the ball. So
yeah, for me, I mean, I think the biggest key is just establishing a running game.
Yes.
And you've played 3 SEC games this year. The one that you looked good, it's the one that you were able to run the football.
You're right.
And it was only for 138 yards against Oklahoma. You only averaged 3.9 yards a clip in that game. But compared to Florida, compared to Kentucky, that's by far and away your best rushing output that you've had. And this is a Mississippi State defense that allows more than 180 yards per game on the ground. They have not been good at stopping the run. The only team worse than them.
I've been giving them a lot of credit for being so good on defense.
You are. I'm not.
Maybe not so much. Huh?
Their run defense has not been very good. They have been good in the secondary.
Okay.
And they lead the conference in interceptions. So they will take advantage of your mistakes. And they're good compared to last year. But I don't think this is an elite defense by any stretch of the imagination. And they have been very weak at stopping the run. And I do think their defensive line is not very good. So that's where you got to take advantage if you're Texas. Your running backs are healthy for the first time in a while.
Right.
You've got your 1-2 punch. Yeah, you're banged up on the offensive line. Cole Hudson is still out in this game today, but you still should have enough where you can consistently get some push and get your rushing attack going.
God, it feels so good to be able to go into a game like this today. And, what can you really hang your hat on offensively? Wouldn't it be nice to say, here's what we can really hang our hat on?
It'd be nice to say like 2 or 3 things in response to that, but instead I have 0.
Wow.
What can they hang their hat on? I know what I want them to hang their hat on, but like, what do you feel good about them hanging their hat on right now?
I'm going to say the 2 healthy running backs, but both running backs being healthy enough today. Yes.
That's what I want. That's what I want to see. So this should be a game. And again, they give up 180 yards per game on the ground. We're asking for 130.
Yeah.
We're not asking for a whole lot here. All right. So just do enough. I think if Texas gets to that number, they're going to find a win today. If they do get to, last year against Mississippi State, they ran for 198 yards.
Yes.
They get close to 200, which I don't think they will. I just don't think the offensive line is good enough for that. But if they approach that number, then not only is Texas going to win this game, they're going to win it going away.
Yes, for sure.
So that's a big key for me as well. And my God, Buck, can they start fast? Spent a lot of time this week talking about the cowbells and how crazy of an atmosphere this is going to be. You were not able to take the Ohio State crowd out of the game. You were not able to take the swamp crowd out of the game. You were not able to take the grocery store crowd at Kroger Field out of the game.
No.
Can you do something early in a game to put some points on the board to just give your team, give your fan base, give everybody some confidence that you're good, and also, again, plant that seed of doubt in them that, oh, shoot, Texas is good.
Yeah, you have to be in a slugfest every weekend.
Feels that way.
It does. It does. I don't know I don't think that changes today, BK. I still see a bit of a slugfest, but I think if you can run the ball and control the clock and force them having to play then we got to catch up.
Yeah.
And going against this defense, I think the quarterback will make enough mistakes that you can still get out of here pretty clean.
First 3 drives last week in Kentucky, punt.
Yes.
So if you could find a way to score 10 points on the first 3 drives, hell, I'll take 7.
Or change the field position, get down the field and change the field position on a team.
Right, something like that. Just pick up a few first downs, move the ball, get in the field goal range. We won't complain about 3.
No.
This could be another slugfest. This could be another low-scoring affair. Like, if you're able to just start the game off with the 50-yard drive that ends in 3 points.
That's fine.
We're okay with that today.
Absolutely.
But you got to get the offense in gear a little bit earlier in a game for once.
And plus you give your defense some excitement that if they get the ball back to you, you can do something with the football.
Yeah.
I'm
with you. on that. All right, Bucky's 3 Keys to Victory brought to you by our friends at Sue Patrick.
Love Sue Patrick, of course, 5222 Burnett Road for all of your Longhorn gear, all your apparel, books, accessories, you name it. They've got it at Sue Patrick's. They got the Jelly Cats. So head on by Sue Patrick's. You're going to need it next week for that homer when you're back here for Bandy.
Oh my God.
You got to show your colors.
I forgot what DKR looked like.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while.
Yeah.
You
I don't even remember how to get there.
You got to show, and of course they got free parking at Sue Patrick. Go to SuePatrick.com for more information. But folks, definitely get your gear ready for next week because it's going to be, they're coming from Nashville, aren't they? They're coming here. They're bringing, I'm telling you, they're bringing a crowd.
I don't have any fans.
They're going to bring, people want to come and see 6th Street compared to their Broadway or whatever.
They're going to bring Dirks, Bentley, and Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
That's who's going to show up for Vandy.
They'll all be here for Vandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
Bobby and his mom and all her friends are going to show up.
She'll definitely be here.
So we got to prepare. Go to Sue Patrick, pick up all your gear.
Yep.
Yeah, get your volleyball gear, undefeated volleyball team.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Love that. Love Sue Patrick. SuePatrick.com if you want to shop online. As the Buck mentioned, free shipping on online orders over $59. All right, a few more thoughts on Texas and Mississippi State. Of course, we'll give our game score prediction before we wrap things up. One thing that we have not spent a lot of time talking about yet is Connor Robertson in for his 2nd straight game. We started the show talking about the Texas offensive line and their importance. Obviously, we were just talking about the Longhorn run game. But this Texas offensive line, they struggled as a unit in Lexington. They really struggled at center and left guard. You've got a true freshman, Nick Brooks, at left guard there, learning on the fly, and you've got a backup in Connor Robertson. Yes, it's year 4, but he is a backup.
Right.
You need a little more from those guys today.
Oh, for sure. In the run game, definitely. And in the pass protection, too.
The 3 sacks that Kentucky had,
You're
I
right.
think they were all credited or charged, however you want to describe it, to Nick Brooks. I think Connor Robertson had 5 pressures allowed last week. Like Kentucky was getting pressure consistently right there between those 2 guys. Coleman Hutzler, Mississippi State's defensive coordinator, former linebacker coach at Texas, he's been watching film and he's like, yes, those 2 guys right there.
Yeah, and this is what they do.
Yeah, the A-gap between that, we're going right there. We're going to twist and stunt. We're going to bring blitzers there. We are going to go after those 2 guys. If you're Texas, it's a lot easier to help with the tackles with running backs and tight ends than it is to help up the middle. You're Texas, you've got to find a way to make those guys not be total liabilities out there.
Yeah, because Cole has a lot going on that he's got to do as the center. Connor. Yeah. He has a lot that he has to control on that line of scrimmage. And, we heard Sark say last week that, there was a couple of protections that Arch could have helped himself too, and he didn't. He didn't call the protection right to help himself out, so he got a lot of pressure in his face. They have to do all those things right today.
They do.
They really do. But your centers is your guide there. He's got to be the guy really in control. I would expect game number 2 now for those guys to know each other a little bit better.
I think so too. And Sark talked about the trust factor a lot.
Yes.
We could play that bit of sound right here. Steve Sarkeesian was asked on Thursday about his offensive line and some of the things that they have been working on this week to try to put together a better showing in Stark Vegas. Here's Steve Sarkeesian.
I think for the offensive line is trust, and not riding the emotional, human nature is I had one good play. Okay. I'm going to have another good play, another good play, another good play. Football doesn't always work like that. We're going to make some mistakes. We'd all love to play a perfect game. You're going to make a mistake. Well, that doesn't mean you have to make another mistake. And so the ability to move on to the next play, be clear-minded, focus on the task at hand, I think is something for the offensive line. But I think, too, we got to get movement at the line of scrimmage and the run game. I think those 2 things go hand in hand for us in particular. We got to have the ability to run the ball. We got to move people at the line of scrimmage. We got to create running lanes. That allows us to utilize some of the play action pass because now, the D linemen aren't pinning their ears back. The linebackers aren't blitzing quite as hard because they know they got to fit their runs. And then we need to make people pay when they do that. When we're getting some of these safety blitzes and things, we got to block them up, and then we need to make them pay with some explosive plays down the field.
No doubt. The explosive plays, we've been talking about that. How many will they have of those today, especially in the run game? Their explosive plays have been with the punt returner.
Yeah.
So they need to have a couple of those in the run game. And for me, you get 10, 12-yard runs. if it moves the chains, it's an explosive play for this offense.
You're right.
It could be 3rd and 2, and you get a first down. What an explosive that was! I mean,
3-yard
really,
run to move the chains.
move the chains.
Yeah.
You got to be consistent with that today.
That is the saddest part of this
I know.
entire offensive operation. Like how good Arch Manning was at throwing the deep ball last year. That was the one thing where we're like, all right, you know,
That's going to be different
we're
this
going
year.
to miss some things with Quinn, of course, but like with Arch, we know the deep shot's going to be there. We know Arch throws a much better ball, and that's awesome. This offense is going to open up so much because of those explosive plays you can get over the top, and you can't do them. Like some of it's been on Arch, but most of it's been on the offensive line. They can't block long enough for your receivers to get down the field. So it kills me. Like, yes, you want the explosive plays. Of course you do, because it's so much easier than having to do things right for 7, 8, 9 plays in a row to score.
Yeah, you
just don't feel good.
Yeah,
about
and you want
that.
separation for your wide receivers, but you don't have time to separate.
No, there's no time. There's no time at all. So that sucks right there. So yeah, to me, it's like, your offensive line's bad. They are. Sark's not going to say that, but know it. I know it. The American people know it.
Absolutely.
To quote you, it's got to get the ball out quick. It's got to be a short, fast passing attack today.
Yeah, we got to find that out early tonight if that's what he's going to do. Because if he settles into, you know what, I think my guys in week number 2 together can drop back and do this. It's going to be rough going for him.
Got to be willing to be patient, right?
Yeah, they're just not good enough to do that right now.
Yeah, take what the defense gives you. I know it's cliche. I know it's coach speak, but like I think that's what has to happen.
So the head coach has to be a little bit more disciplined in what he does and how he calls it.
I think so too.
Yes.
And that was a frustrating part because again, it felt like in the second half against Oklahoma, they had found a little something, a little bit of an identity.
Right.
And then they went right back to what they did against Florida that obviously didn't work in the swamp. But it's like, you got to know what you have. You can't run what you want to run. You can't run the entire playbook right now. Find a few things that work really well and just do those consistently. And then I think that's going to make you keep using the easy word, Buck. I think that's going to make things easier.
They do. They need some things to happen easy for them.
Yeah, for that.
Because everything looks difficult and hard right now.
I'm with you on that. All right. We will give one more. Oh, we need to give a shout out to our friends at Clean Cause.
I love the folks at Clean Cause, giving 50% of their profits back to alcohol and drug rehab. And they've been doing it not only in the Austin and Texas area, but now they're trying to do that around the world. And their sparkling yerba mate drinks are absolutely delicious. But the cool thing is what they give to the community. And they're about giving. And 50% is huge of what they do. And they've been doing it. I've been here for 30 years, and I've seen Clean Cause everywhere. I've seen it down the coast. I've seen it in Houston, Dallas. It's all over this state. And they're trying to make a difference in the world for what they do for those who are in rehab for drug and alcohol addiction.
Yeah.
So we love the folks at Clean Cause. Appreciate them.
Absolutely. They bring the YouTube comment line. Of course, if y'all want to send in your score predictions, you can do that. Oklahoma on the verge of going down to Ole Miss. They're about to get the ball back, down by 8 with just over a minute to play.
We don't want to get their coach fired.
No.
We don't want them to win either.
It's a weird predicament that Texas fans are in.
Yes.
We want Brent Venables to be coaching in Norman for a long time, but we also don't want them to be good. And it's hard for both of those things to happen.
Yeah. So let's either get it on with somebody else, but let's just have them lose.
The fewest amount of games they can win for Brent Venables to keep his job. That is what we are looking for.
Yes.
From Oklahoma this year. So we'll let you know if something happens there. A quick round of scoreboard updates, again, brought to you by our friends at Gobundance. Let me hit the refresh on the computer here to keep everybody updated. Auburn now leading Arkansas 30-24. 6 minutes to go in regulation in Fayetteville. I guess kind of both coaches are coaching for their job there. Bobby Petrino, an interim coach,
trying to keep her gig there,
trying to get the full-time job after this year is over, and once again be the head coach of the Razorbacks. Obviously, Hugh Freeze at Auburn kind of feels like a dead man walking, but maybe he could prolong his life a little bit with a win today. South Florida leading Memphis 31-26. 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter there. A couple of games that are final. About Indiana, 56-6 over UCLA.
That team is for real.
That team is for real, and that game was never close. Virginia in overtime. They hold off Bill Belichick in North Carolina in Chapel Hill. Jordan Hudson not real thrilled with that one.
Just another loss for the Tar Heels.
2-5 now on the year for Bill Belichick.
It's not what they expected.
Now that experiment not going very well. and Georgia Tech over Syracuse 41-16, the final. That's your other ranked game that has wrapped up. Any thoughts on some of these other big games coming up later today? 2:30 Alabama at South Carolina. I think your cousin is very high on the Tide.
Yeah, I think Tide will roll today.
High Tide.
Yes.
Missouri Vanderbilt, where College Game Day was this
I think
morning.
Vandy gets their win and then comes in here feeling very good about themselves. That's why it's important. That's why it's important for Texas to win. So when Vandy comes in here strutting themselves, this will be fun.
What do you say about their quarterback?
The little round shoulder dude?
The little round shoulder dude. Yeah. You've been calling him fat a lot.
Oh no, he's just got a little round shoulder.
That's
He'll be
fat, doesn't it?
Oh, sort of.
Yeah.
He'll be bringing his fan base in here next week, which would be fun.
Yeah, I think so. What about A&M LSU tonight in Death Valley, 6:30 on ABC? The Aggies.
Or they never win there.
LSU is 20-1 in their last 21 home games at night. That's been a tough place for anybody to win. And the home team has won the last 8 games in this matchup between A&M and LSU.
And you know how I feel about the Aggies. So.
You do love the Aggies. You're wearing a Texas shirt. You're in a Texas bar right next to the University of Texas campus. And for some reason, you are an Aggie fan.
I want them to be good all the way up until that last game. I want them to be so happy when the rug gets pulled out from under them. They need to be undefeated.
Just confident.
I'm so confident. It doesn't matter. Hey, it doesn't matter what even happens today. That's a win.
Right?
I already count. That's a win for Texas, no matter what.
The A&M game? You don't care what happens between now and Black Friday? You're just chalking it up as a W?
That's a W. But I want them to feel good about themselves.
All right.
I don't want them to be on a downer. I want them to feel like they're the best in the conference and they're the best in the nation.
They will be feeling very good about themselves if they win this game tonight. This would be a huge win. I know LSU's reeling a little bit. They've got a couple of losses. They're ranked number 20.
And their coach has got to worry about himself too a little bit.
Yeah, Brian Kelly on the hot seat right there. I believe we have a strip sack fumble and a game over. Looks like Ole Miss is going to get that win against Oklahoma, Buck. That's good.
That is good. That's a good thing. Sorry about that.
That's the beauty of college football. You root for your team first, and then you root for your rivals to lose second. And rooting for Oklahoma to lose, I never have a hard time doing that.
No.
But there you go. All right, final few minutes of our pre-game show. Time for our game score prediction brought to you by our friends at Paul's Motor Works. We'll tell you a little bit more about them in a moment. Buck, it's been a weird day for Texas. I mean, it started with that Diana Rossini report just after 9 o'clock this morning. Team's probably waking up. They're having breakfast together at the team hotel in Starkville. And all of a sudden, these guys are checking Twitter, and it's Steve Sarkeesian's been flirting with NFL teams. Well, Sark's agent has come out and said, nope, that's not happening. None of that is true. But that report is out there today. How are you feeling about Texas? The Longhorns 8.5-point favorites right now. Mississippi State hasn't won an SEC game in more than 2 years. Can Texas extend the win streak to 3? What's your game score prediction?
Well, earlier in the week, I didn't think this was good for Texas and the cowbells and all the madness and distractions. But this is even more of a distraction. I think they're going to focus today and get some points, BK. I originally had 20-18 Texas, but now I'm going 21-14 Texas.
Okay, but not a cover.
No.
All right.
No, I want the cover, but I think 21 points. I'm trying to get between 21 and 24 points for this football team. But the distractions are enough, and not the one about Sark, but more so the distraction of where they're going to be. The scenery there is going to bother some guys that are put in different positions today.
Yeah.
Just how distracted can you be? So that's the deal. You know, once again, it's all about where you put your team, the illegal procedures, things like that. It's going to happen. He's not real smart. So I don't expect that to change right now. I really don't. I don't think it's going to change, but I just hope that they have enough opportunities that some of the distractions, you know, the couple of legal procedures and things like that don't take them down. That can't be the reason you lose the game.
I'm with you on that. You know, I've been back and forth all week. I mean, I've picked Texas to win. I've been confident in that. My confidence hasn't wavered in terms of who's going to win the game, but in terms of the final score, Buck, I am so glad that this line is 8.5 for one reason and one reason only.
What's that?
Matt Galatson, one half of Open Gym that you can hear every weekday afternoon from 4 to 6 on Texas Sports Unfiltered. He is 0-7 in our score predictions this year, picking Texas against the spread. He's been horrible. So my strategy now is just do the opposite of what he does, and I feel like it's going to work. He had 8. Now, earlier today, that would have been a Texas cover. But right now, the line's 8.5, which means that's a Mississippi State cover. So I'm going to pick Texas to cover today.
There you go.
I'm going to say a 10-point win. I don't think it's a blowout by any stretch. here's the bolder part of my pick. Texas 30, Mississippi State
30
20.
points.
We're going to get to 30 today. I have no idea how. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why, Billy Joel, but we're going to get to 30 today, okay? 30-20. Texas gets a road victory. Come home with a little bit of confidence, obviously welcoming a very good Vanderbilt.
So you're
team next
expecting a special team score and 2 defensive scores.
probably 3 defensive scores. And a special
3
team
on
score.
defense.
I'm thinking we're going to get some help from our
Okay.
the offense is going to get some help from their friends. For sure.
Okay.
Defense is going to create a couple of takeaways. Maybe they'll score once, but they'll give a few short fields to the offense. Special teams will do its thing too. Mason Shipley's going to make a few field goals. But I for some reason think the Texas offense is going to find a little bit of a rhythm.
I do like your offensive game pick, your offensive player of the game pick, though.
DeAndre Moore?
Yes, I like that. He needs to be heard from again.
He needs to be heard from a lot
Yes.
today, I think.
I agree.
All right. That game score prediction brought to you by Paul's Motor Works.
Love Paul.
Your search for a reliable car mechanic is over. Paul's Motor Works right there on 620 and 2222. They've been providing complete automotive repair for foreign and domestic vehicles since 2000. They are the best at what they do. I drive 30 minutes across town to go see these guys.
Yes,
Because
indeed.
I don't trust my old ass Altima to anybody. Probably should. I don't know if I care about it that much, but Paul's Motor Works are the best in the business. Big Longhorn fans, big TSU supporters. We love them. You will too. PMWAustin.com is the website. Go see Paul and his great team. Again, 620 and 2222. Buck, you want to do the honors of our Ariat boot drawing today, sir? I'll let you read the name too. You got to deal with the crappy handwriting today. Oh, you got 2. You're going with that one?
No.
All right. Oh, boy.
Julian Torres, it looks like. What do you think? Am I good?
That looks like Julian Torres.
There you go.
Yeah, it does. Congrats, Julian. We have his number, so even if he's not here, or her number.
That's true.
You know any girl Julians?
No, I really don't.
You don't want to assume nowadays.
No, I do
we
not.
don't want to get ourselves in trouble. They can't kick us out because we're done. So I
That's
guess we're good. Congrats to Julian for winning the free pair of Ariat boots. And that'll do it. Thanks again to Victory Lab for having us today. Last minute ordeal. They put it together. They were a great host. If you're looking for a place to watch Texas, Mississippi State, this is where you need to be. We're at the West Campus location, 24th and San Antonio. They also have a great spot on Rainey Street as well. They'll have the game on, cold drinks, great pizza. The vibes are high here all of the time. So shout out to Victory Lab for hosting us today. And shout out to everybody for tuning in. That'll do it for the Texas Sports Unfiltered pregame show. A reminder, post-game, it'll be Wags and Zay right after the game goes final tonight. So keep it locked into Texas Sports Unfiltered. Make sure you subscribe and download the free TSU app. But that'll do it for today. Thanks so much to our title sponsors, AV Consultations and Covert Bee Cave. For Bucky Godbolt, I am BK Brad Kellner. Y'all enjoy the game and the rest of the weekend, and hook 'em.